centre.
With your headlines, it's just gone 10 a.m. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. talkSPORT's Jason Cundy thinks the boring Premier League's been knocked into a cocked hat by PSG 5, Bayern Munich 4. Here's Ray Parlour.
We have got the best league. There's no doubt about the Premier League, but the two best sides, probably, if you look at those two going forward.
Agreed.
It's very hard to deal with the forward attacking ability they both got.
The quality of Champions League refereeing has been called into question, though. Vincent Kompany thinks Bayern can chalk off PSG's penalty. Ali McCoist calls that decision against Alphonso Davies scandalous.
Dembele takes a cross. I think you're right. I think Aina comes off his chest or his thigh or whatever, and hits him in the hand, which is at his side. I thought it was poor. But anyway, I refuse to let it annoy me in what was a brilliant game of football.
Too right. Luis Enrique called it the best game he's ever been involved in as a coach. Tonight, Atletico Madrid versus Arsenal is live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m. Kieran McKenna's Ipswich are taking huge confidence into their final promotion push after a comeback draw at informed Southampton. Ipswich need to beat QPR at home to seal second place. A thrilling final day in the Championship is live on talkSPORT on Saturday lunchtime. Now, George North says he's lived out a childhood dream as he retires from rugby union.
The next chapter. Yeah, still working on that one, but I'm excited to see where that journey takes me. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, diolch.
George North played 121 times for Wales and on 2 Lions tours. In Formula 1, Silverstone's offered to host any races cancelled because of the war in the Middle East. Bahrain and Saudi Arabia are already off. Qatar and Abu Dhabi are still in the calendar. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
After claiming King Charles agrees with his stance on Iran, Donald Trump's posted an AI picture captioned "No more Mr. Nice Guy." And Europe's recorded its hottest ever year. Amelia's back at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. The tyre transfer window is hotting up and we've signed a multi-generational talent with Continental Tyres. Visit quickfit.com and book today.
After a chilly start, warm and sunny day for most of us. Few showers through the English Channel. Windy in the south, chilly along eastern coasts.
They sent us a picture that made me feel so ashamed. We look like hoarders.
Chris Marshall! Yeah, I'm actually recovering from an accident right now. You've landed loose today, haven't you? Yeah, don't shake the arm, Chris, too much.
You're with Danny Boyle, who's like the maddest director ever. He's got so much energy. He's like you.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. We're live on talkSPORT. So PSG beat Bayern Munich 5-4 in the Champions League. If you're Arsenal or Atletico, would last night give you more cause for fear or more cause for optimism? Meanwhile, are we really going to see a Mourinho-Madrid reunion? Also today, have Southampton peaked too soon? How legitimate is the Manchester City fixture row? Another season-ending injury. Are the odds stacking up against Spurs? Will Brighton be a trailblazer or an outlier? And is Gianni Infantino bigger than the Pope? Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy. We're live in talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
Now, while you and I were doing a bit of mutual backslapping yesterday, Simon, talking about us winning another award, the man to your left is a double winner this week. Danny Murphy not only winning on this show for the best audio show at the SJAs the other night, but match of the day to Best TV Award. And Mr. Murphy, you in no small way are to do with that. The common denominator here is we're in the mid, Simon, and in the company of a serial award winner. Danny, good morning.
No, 2 great awards. I'm pleased to be part of both teams in a small way. But yeah, it means we're doing something right, I suppose, doesn't it?
No, I don't want to put you
Congratulations to you both as well.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you. And on behalf of Simon, thank you. Here's the thing. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I will. What award means more to you? Winning with us or winning with Match of the Day?
What, you want the honest answer?
Go on.
I think I probably have a bigger contribution on Match Today than I do on this show, which is credit to you two, because you do what, 4 days a week, I do 1. So you two obviously take more of the plaudits than me or Martin, for example. Whereas, you know, I do 25. I do
according to Guillaume.
Do a bigger percentage of Match Today, but they're both equally rewarding.
Yes. Martin Keown, who you just mentioned, was in touch with Simon and myself saying he was delighted that we had won on his show virtually, but that was great. Mr. Jordan, good morning.
Good morning.
You're looking very healthy. You're still doing that walk from Waterloo Station down to London Bridge.
Yeah, it's now become a sort of a routine. I don't know why I've got into it.
Ritual?
It's a ritual. Yeah, gets your steps in, doesn't it?
I don't think you do if it was raining, you wouldn't, would you?
I do it in the rain.
Oh, do you?
I do. I've done it. I started doing it when we had tube strikes and there was no tubes, and then I've just gotten into it and I actually think it's quite a nice thing to do. Just get yourself moving in the morning, get yourself out and about.
How do you find out, because you're so popular, getting from there to there, being stopped all the time?
Oh, shut up.
That's right. So it was during the tube strikes. So the trade unions have really got you fitter, haven't they?
No, it's a protest vote. It's actually what they've done is they've done themselves out of revenue, because I no longer travel on the trains, and all they've done is achieve what ultimately is going to happen, which is the winding down of the trains, because people take alternate ways of getting to work or working from home.
No, I want to dwell on this, but I'm going to dwell on it. When do you ever get the tube? I've had to physically drag you onto it now and again.
But I've gotten into it because I realised. So I'd actually rather jump on tubes that take about 10 minutes to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So actually, as a result of it, I am travelling on tubes.
I can be evident. I've got on the tube with Simon.
There you go. See?
And he was comfortable. He was fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. We got there in the end. Danny, double award winner. Good morning. What did we witness last night in Paris? PSG beat Bayern Munich 5-4 in the Champions League. Whatever happened to the traditional cagey semi-final affair? The first leg of this semi-final, the highest scoring of any in Champions League history. Now, on Amazon, Vincent Kompany spoke post-match, and he tried to describe what we'd just seen.
Yeah, I would say, well, what do you want? Do you want teams that... I think you've seen a lot of good defending today. Intense duels and this, but it's just the margins are so little, and you only have 2 ways. So the first one is to go full, or the second one is to retreat fully. The in-between doesn't work against that level of players. The in-between doesn't work against our level of players.
Well, Vincent doesn't exactly see it as Wayne Rooney saw it. We saw some good defending. Vincent, what? Wayne Rooney, at this level, we have seen some brilliance, but we've seen some immature defending, which is crazy. He's not wrong, Dan.
There was some poor defending, yeah. But the problem you've got is when you play the way those two teams do, you're going to isolate people 1v1. And you can call it poor defending or you can just call it brilliant forward play. It's nearly impossible if you're one-on-one with someone with electric pace and good skill, because they can go both ways, to stop them. Kvaratskhelia goal, for example, or when you've got Elise one-on-one, you're in a world of trouble. So, I think rather than focus on whether there was good or bad defending, what I enjoyed most is that styles make fights. You've got 2 teams who think they're the best. And you've got 2 teams who think, we're going to come after you because I think we're better than you and we've got better players and we'll outscore you.
Yeah.
And with the quality they've got, it tends to work for them 9 out of 10 times. That's why Munich are flying. That's why PSG are flying. But what you saw last night was 2 of the best teams at the moment, probably the 2 best teams in the world at the moment, with the best groups of forward players, producing some unbelievable football. The counter-attacks and playing through the press was of such a high level.
Yeah.
So people have jumped on this, it's all the forward players. Some of the playing out from the centre-halves, from the full-backs, the midfield boys getting on it in tight spaces, playing it round corners. Honestly, it was unbelievable.
It is wonderful for us, isn't it? Of course.
I mean, Wayne makes some points, but you can draw the parallel between a championship-winning manager who's competing in the Champions League or a person that got Plymouth relegated, and say which one's got the more prevalent point of view. Look, the likelihood is that the offensive play was so illuminating at times that defenders and defensive capabilities and the way that the team set up, as Danny suggests, preclude just the basic observation that 5 goals have been scored by one side, 4 goals have been scored by another. It must mean that people defended poorly.
Yeah.
I think what would you rather have? Football is about exciting and igniting people and getting them off their seats, and that's what goals do.
Yeah.
And you've got 2 sides that look at one another. The interesting thing about PSG is they play in spurts, and they play in periods. Now, it always feels they've got more in the tank. And the worrying thing for Bayern Munich was I think they played well at certain times during that game, PSG, and then sometimes they didn't. If they decide to string it all together, they've got more in the tank. They will, again, make this game against Bayern Munich far from a foregone conclusion in the fact that Munich have scored 4 goals away from home. Most people would think if you can get away from home on a 1-0 loss, right, which is effectively what this is, a 1-0 loss, you've got a good chance for the second leg.
Yeah.
But not against PSG, because they're no respecters of home grounds. They're no respecters of the opposition in terms of we'll set up differently to play the opposition. They'll go at them, irrespective of at the Allianz, irrespective of where they're playing.
So with all that in mind, if you're Arsenal or Atletico looking at your final opponents, would last night give you more cause for fear or more cause for optimism?
I wouldn't be overthinking that just now. I mean, Arsenal, when they were at their best early in the season, played brilliantly against Munich and beat them comfortably. So, some players keep past games in your head. Some players don't watch how other teams do. You'll always respect them. Then I don't think Arsenal will be too concerned. They've got a really experienced group of players. They'd fancy themselves in a one-off game against anyone. But where they're at the minute, confidence-wise, obviously us looking in, you wouldn't. Well, that game last night, what it was is it's a group of really talented players given freedom. And it shows you the role, how important the role of a manager is. When people talk about Klopp's Liverpool and how you enjoyed watching them, and Liverpool fans now are against Slot so much because they've been so spoiled by that wonderful, energetic, high tempo, high risk. People still talk about Keegan's Newcastle, all these teams, Wenger's Arsenal.
Yeah.
It's the manager's importance, even with a group of talented players, is so key. It's so key. Because I've heard loads of people sometimes say, well, it's about your quality of players. The manager only does so much. No, he's the one that gives you the freedom to go swap positions.
So
make mistakes,
is that
beat
a
people.
Dig at Arteta as well, Danny, because he won't give his boys the freedom that you're talking about.
Not really a dig, because I understand his change. His change is because he's tried to be more. I mean, when they finished second 2 seasons, I think they finished top goal scorers in 2 of those seasons. So he had to go the other way, and he failed. So he's tweaked it this season to try and get over the line a different way, and I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I mean, different managers operate with different ways. No one could ever turn around and say that Jose Mourinho is a flair manager, can they? They'll talk back to the side that he had in 2003, 2004, Chelsea, that was a bit more forward-orientated. But ostensibly, Mourinho's main focus in life was to make sure that the opposition didn't score goals and that they won.
Yeah.
And so it's different. As long as you win at the end of it, it makes the equation. Now, Arteta will be forgiven for this, whatever people think his style of play is, and it is very rigid. He is, like I said the other day, he's as rigid as burnt toast. But if they win, it doesn't really matter. It negates the arguments. Going to the point last night, I was talking to a couple of my friends that are big Arsenal fans, and their first default setting was in this game, forget about us even competing with either one of those sides on current form. But it doesn't work like that. Styles make fights. Yeah. And Arsenal defend better, perhaps, than PSG and perhaps Bayern Munich do. So when it comes to Arsenal playing against PSG, which I think will be the ultimate outcome, it will not be the same way as potentially we saw in this individual game, and Arsenal will be in the game. Now, whether they win it or not is a different matter.
We saw Arsenal play PSG last season, and they went out by a fine line. Donnarumma was excellent. Little margins. Saka missed a couple of chances. Arsenal play either...
PSG are a better side, don't they, than Arsenal?
Yeah. When they're at it,
Yeah. Styles make fights, and you're right, Simon, but with all the recent observations in England of boring football amidst a set-piece boom, and that's what we've witnessed, did last night put the Premier League to shame to some extent?
I think it put the Premier League this season to shame a little bit. It's been underwhelming, hasn't it? Apart from City's recent run where they've looked more like the old City and they can create and beat teams. But City were underwhelming in the Madrid game, weren't they? And so you've Liverpool outdone comfortably by PSG.
Yeah.
Arsenal the only team left in. I think that game last night made us feel that there's a couple of teams way ahead. So I don't know who it was. I was listening to someone talk last night about, I don't know if it was last night, about how PSG and Bayern would get on in the Prem. If PSG and Bayern were in the Prem, they'd be up at the top. That's for sure.
Really? Yeah.
That's for sure.
But by what? By certainly in PSG's case, by outscoring anyone.
Yeah. Well, they've got better forwards than maybe not City, but everyone else they have.
Yeah,
and Bayern are but they've got to a new level this season. They're a hell of a side as well.
Are you having a bit of Premier League bashing this morning, Simon?
I mean, I listen.
It's great to see it, isn't it?
I mean, look, this is a European game. So if we're talking about domestic football and talking about the Premier League in isolation as a domestic league, let's analyse it properly. Let's look at the goals per games in La Liga and Serie A and see if we are actually behind the curve in terms of performance. I think it's once something becomes said, it becomes truth, and it becomes ultimately conventional thinking. And there might be a case because ultimately we've seen Arsenal score a lot of goals from free kicks. We're seeing aspects of certain teams being prepared to revert to a style that supposedly is confined to the annals of history, which is long balls, throw-ins coming in, physicality coming back into the game.
Yeah,
I think there's something to be said for all of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Arsenal could beat PSG in the final or Bayern with a long throw or a corner. And then it will go the argument kind of. But in terms of the aesthetic, fans love to see what we saw. Like most fans love creativity, dynamism. One thing on the game last night that a lot of people have talked about and I concur with is how many of the players got the ball and were courageous and tried to use their skill and beat people and make things happen without fear of losing it or a moan or a groan from the crowd.
Right.
That was the best thing. The sideways, comeback, safety.
I was thinking about you, Danny, last night. I think of you many nights, but that's another story. Liverpool 5, Alaves 4.
Yeah.
UEFA Cup final in 2001. Was there any similarity? Well, I mean, you lot were 3-1 up at once.
Yeah, the quality of the game last night was better than ours, but there was definitely similarity in terms of the ebb and flow.
Yeah,
we were completely on top, thinking we'd done, comfortable, and then all of a sudden it goes the other way, and we're hanging on a bit. Then we flip it on its head. It's end to end. Nobody went pragmatic. Nobody decided we'll keep what we've got. It just went toe for toe, which is ridiculous when I look back.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're great games to be involved.
And as Simon says, the main thing is you win.
Yeah.
You win at the end of it all. Let's put it out there this morning. If you're Arsenal or Atletico looking at your final opponents, would last night give you more cause for fear or more cause for optimism? Arsenal fans, let's say you get through this semi-final. But what do you think if you get there to face either PSG or Bayern Munich? Would you be optimistic against one of the two, or would you be a bit fearful of what you saw, having seen what you saw last night? Give us a call, because we're all ears for you this morning. 03717 223344. And what about that other point that I put to Simon just before the break? With all the recent observations in England of boring football, set piece, did last night put the Premier League to shame? Give us a call, 03717 223344. Good morning. So they won, Martin, and well done Arsenal for doing so. But with 4 games to go, can Arsenal unshackle themselves? Do they need to?
Well, look, to be honest, the situation Arsenal are in is normal. It's never easy to be a team that doesn't win it after successive years. 22 years for Arsenal, 26 years, wasn't it, for Manchester United, 44 years for Man City. You know, we can still hear Aguero in the commentary because what it meant and the day they tripped up there against Queen's Park Rangers. So these nerves are there. It's natural. I just thought that the weekend, Eze, how he handled those nerves, I think he's an example to everybody in the team, how he's loving the situation. I was stunned by the naivety of Newcastle, not recognising that, okay, we're all marking in the box, but that's not the play we need to pick up. And there was 2 early corners that was assigned to that, and his finish was magnificent.
But that's strange, isn't it? Eze, the one player who's never been involved in a title run-in, in a title race, is the standout.
Yes, but you think about his progression in the game, 27 years of age. Arsenal didn't want him, rejected him. His route to this level, he's enjoying the moment, embracing it, and that has to be the attitude. I think I've contrast that with Zupimendi. He's played a lot of games. It's a difficult moment for him. But then these are the players you support. The result does the trick. It gives you that tonic. It makes you think you can keep going. You know, we've sat here now so many times. For me, it's been like climbing Mount Everest here. We have 4 games to go.
They sent us a picture that made me feel so ashamed. We look like hoarders.
Chris Marshall! Yeah, I'm actually recovering from an accident right now. You've landed loose today, haven't you? Yeah, don't shake the arm, Chris, too much.
You're with Danny Boyle, who's like the maddest director ever. He's got so much energy. He's like you.
Good morning, everybody. This Manchester City fixture congestion row is really got going. We're going to get to that shortly because in City's eyes, Arsenal have a more favourable run-in with a bit of breathing space than City do. Now, maybe they've got a case. We'll spell it out further down the line. We'll get to that. Danny in studio, double award-winning Danny Murphy in studio with Simon and myself this morning. We'll get to that. In the meantime, we're sticking on this because tonight is a very important night for Arsenal fans everywhere. First leg of their Champions League semi-final against Atletico Madrid. What are we about to see? Probably nothing like the 9-goal thriller last night in the Parc des Princes. But when it all boils down to it, do Arsenal fans feel a bit buoyed up if they get to the final and they face one of these two, bearing in mind what Wayne Rooney said about the defences on show last night? Are you more optimistic about your chances of getting your hands on that European trophy at the end of it all? Or would you be a bit more fearful of the goal-scoring prowess that both clearly Bayern, but more so PSG, actually possess? 03717 22 33 44. Here's Phil, big Arsenal fan. Good morning, Phil. What do you think? Would you be more optimistic or more fearful going into the final?
Morning, lads. There's no denying how great that game was last time. I mean, it's just the quality between both teams. I think that, like someone said earlier, I think they are contending for one of the best teams in the world right now. But as everyone says, a final is a one-off game. So I do think that is in our favour. But going back to the City game against us, I think that's given us a bit of confidence. Obviously, Newcastle was a bit of a narrow win, but obviously, I'm quite optimistic with it. I mean, there's no denying, obviously, it's not going to be a walk in the park and things like that. But I just think we've got to be in it to win it at the end of the day.
You've got to be in it to win it. That's a good point, Phil. Are you going to be in it to win it, Phil?
I'm quite optimistic, yeah. And I know you're not talking about Premier League, but I think we're still in the Premier League. That's still on in my eyes. So we're pretty optimistic.
Good call, Phil. Thank you for that. Dean's a big Arsenal fan. Good morning, Dean. After what you saw last night, Dean, say you get to the final and you face one of these two, how would you be feeling about it? Fearful or optimistic?
Morning, guys.
Morning, Dean.
I'm optimistic. I mean, if you look at it, we've already beaten both. We've beaten Bayern Munich and we've beaten Atletico already in the league stage by comfortable margins. I think you can't be scared of these games, you know. And we do in the Champions League. We've got a really, really good record this season, and there's no reason why we can't carry that on. And if it's Bayern Munich, we beat them again. And we obviously get through against Atletico, I'm hoping.
Yeah. On the other topic, the other question I posed going into the break, Dean, where do you stand on that? So much emphasis is put on set-piece football in the Premier League. Did last night put the Premier League to shame somewhat?
I mean, it was a cracking game, you know, end-to-end. Probably not much fun for either of the fans to see it, but... I think it's in entertainment factor, probably.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. You know, we'd all like to be seeing that, but obviously not when it's your team.
Yeah. Dean, thanks for the call, mate. Danny, we mentioned Liverpool beating Alaves all these years ago, 5-4. That one was after extra time. Is a grinding 1-0 win, say via a corner kick, as satisfying as a 5-4 epic victory?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the importance of the game, sometimes it's just a relief, however you've got over the line. I always found that a 3-2 win or a 4-2 win and a great game, the forward players and the more creative players were more buzzing because you obviously contributed generally.
Yeah.
Whereas a tight 1-0 where you've shut up shop. I remember beating United a few times when they had their great side and we'd shut up shop and Fergie would be whinging after because we didn't really attack very much. But our defenders and goalkeeper would be made up.
Yeah.
Clean sheet, you know. So I think it depends on where you play on the pitch.
Sure thing. Meantime, the fellow beside you is plotting the theorem of Pythagoras.
I'm not. I'm evaluating something else, but listening to you at the same time.
Task for me. I mean, in all honesty, Simon, last night I thought, jeez, whoever it is, either PSG or Bayern, if Arsenal get there, I cannot see them overcoming either one of them.
But again, that's taking the game in isolation and suggesting that inserting another team into it would naturally the same effect would happen. No, it won't happen. Arsenal won't play the same way. PSG might not set up the same way against Arsenal as they do against Bayern Munich. We'll see what happens in the second leg. Do I think that Arsenal are a better side than either of those sides on offer last night? No. Do I think that what happened earlier on in the season is relevant? It's like suggesting the teams that beat PSG last year in the group stages, that put PSG almost 23rd or 24th and qualified, should then beat them again when PSG won the league, won the Champions League. No. It's irrelevant what Arsenal may have done to Bayern Munich earlier on in the competition. It's irrelevant what they've done to PSG in last year's semi-final when they played a game.
Well, it's not irrelevant and you're right in terms of how it affects the next one, but in terms of the understanding of what you're talking about, which is Arsenal beat them earlier in the season because they had a really good day and Bayern were a bit off, which can happen in a final.
Sure. The fact of the matter is Arsenal have got to get to that final first. And Arteta was talking about what lies ahead over the 2 legs against Atletico. But this one going in tonight.
It's a massive privilege to be here again 2 years in a row in the semi-final of the Champions League, representing our club. And what an opportunity. We're going to grab it with both hands. You're going to see a team that wants to be dominant, that wants to win it, and that wants to start to decide the tie tomorrow. This is the stages that we want to be, and we have earned it through incredible work, passion, and quality in the last 9 months. And now is the moment to make a statement and show how good we are, how much we want it, and make it happen. It's clear. The opportunity is in front of us, and we have to attack it.
Danny, before we hit the break, very briefly, what we saw last night was what we saw. What will we see tonight?
Not that. You'll see a very disciplined, organised Arsenal performance again. They'll be very hard to play against. The irony is that actually Atletico are generally that as well. So you'll see a much more cautious affair. I'd be surprised if there was more than 1 goal in it either way by the time the 90 minutes is up. And I think Arsenal are all-round better team. Atletico have had a decent run of form, but they've taken a couple of hidings this season. You know, they're no great shape.
No. Should Arsenal be worried about what might happen in, say, the opening 10, 15 minutes?
No, embrace it.
Because the place will be going crazy.
If there's one team, if you said to me, pick a team in Europe to go somewhere and shut up shop for 20 minutes, I'd pick Arsenal.
Yeah.
But no, they shouldn't be.
I mean, we saw Tottenham melt there, but this is a different situation tonight.
Yeah, because one of Arsenal actually enjoy defending. They're good at it.
Yeah.
I know they've had a bit of bad form recently, but they're really good defensively.
Okay, Atletico Madrid against Arsenal, their semi-final first leg is live on talkSPORT tonight. A lot to get through. It's Wednesday morning. It's 10:30.
consequence, Lincoln City celebrated their title win this weekend. Decided this is the big moment to mock Spurs.
What? Oh my God! up the imps. Up the imps. Jay, Tottenham away, ole ole. That is shameless.
I don't know where to
Tottenham.
go.
Do you know that game now has been built up to something? Right?
Yeah, I know. It has. It's been a thing because of you. Because of you.
There's nothing to do with me. I'm not.
No, it is. No, it's because of you. You made it a
I'm
thing.
not playing centre off Spurs.
It's just who we are, mate.
It's not my fault you're there.
Oh, it's a killer. Oh, it's a killer. Lincoln away next season.
Mate, don't knock the imps, mate. Up the imps.
Lincoln away.
Ole, ole.
It's a killer. It is.
Can you imagine Spurs start singing Lincoln away, ole, ole?
Well, you know what? We're going to have to. Maybe we're going to have to.
No, Jay, get out of it, mate.
Do you think we'll get out of it?
Jay, I've been saying all along you'll get out of it, right? You'll find a way. I cannot... Look, it's a straight shootout between you and West Ham. Up your hands. Straight shootout, mate.
Oh, I can't see it.
I
can't see it. I can't see it.
No, it is a straight shootout between you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but West Ham are decent.
Mate, they've been decent.
They've been all right.
Look, you picked up your first victory, right? No, Rob.
After the world was treated to the mother of all first leg thrillers last night, talkSPORT's Jason Cundy doesn't think any Arsenal player gets into either Bayern or PSG's team.
The levels of quality in that game was nothing short of extraordinary. And it just goes to, in my opinion, it just goes to show how dull the Premier League is. That has embarrassed, and it's knocked the Premier League into a cocked hat.
Vincent Kompany called PSG 5, Bayern Munich 4, a clash of similar ideas. Here's European football expert Julien Laurent.
And yeah, look at what Vincent is doing already. And I know it helps when you've got Olise and Diaz and Kane in those kind of form. I mean, Olise last night again, and we love Nuno Mendes, maybe the best left back in the world. But Olise made him look like an under-19.
Luis Enrique reckons PSG need 3 goals in Munich to win the tie. The second leg will be live on talkSPORT next Wednesday. Arsenal's turn tonight, though. Huge storms are forecast ahead of their game at Atletico Madrid, live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m. In the Championship, Kieran McKenna says Ipswich are in great shape to finish second. They came back to draw at informed Southampton. Tonda Eckhart's side are consigned to the playoffs. He spoke to talkSPORT's Ian Abrahams.
Is that something you're happy with?
No, I don't care.
You don't care that it might be a bit of extra pressure?
I'm happy with the pressure. It doesn't make a difference.
And if players confront an opponent while covering their mouths at the World Cup this summer, they will be sent off. FIFA's also bringing in red cards for any player who leaves the field in protest at a referee's decision. There's more at talksport.com.
Champions League's the Champions League. Anybody seen what's going on in the Championship? My goodness me. Ipswich struck late to earn a 2-2 draw at Southampton. So what does that mean? It means strap yourself in, folks. It condemned Southampton to the playoffs, but 3 teams now fight it out for one last automatic promotion place on Saturday. Ipswich, Millwall and Middlesbrough. Now, it works out this way. Ipswich are in the driving seat. They'll play QPR. That's live in talkSPORT. Millwall will play Oxford United. Wrexham will play Middlesbrough. That's live in talkSPORT too. Ipswich in the driving seat. Surely they won't slip it up at the last hurdle. They're on 81 points. Millwall on 80. Middlesbrough on 79. So Ipswich win it and go up automatically. This is Kieran McKenna.
Saw an outstanding game of football. I'm so proud of the performance of our players. You know, big credit to Southampton for their input to the game. And yeah, I think when you produce a performance like that, your third away game in 6 days, in game 45 of the season against a form team in the country, I think you can say we're in a brilliant way, and shows huge growth in the group, and it sets us to Saturday in a really good way. So we'd love to have finished it off tonight. We're millimetres away, but we go into Saturday with a lot of confidence and looking forward to it.
Wow. Southampton, meantime, I've got to go to Preston. And they've got to do it the hard way, because it's the playoffs for them. And a bit disappointing, having gone out of the FA Cup at the semi-final stage at the weekend there. Tonda Eckert, what's he thinking about it all?
Big compliment to the players. I think we left absolutely everything on the pitch today, and one more to go on Saturday, and at least we have clarity now. We know what's coming up. We know that the season is getting extended by another 3 weeks. So I think if you look back a couple of months, everyone would have been happy to be at this point. Then if you continue to perform, it's normal that the expectations rise. But yeah, then we know we'll find a way to do it through the playoffs.
You know, Simon, on Southampton, a ridiculous 20-game unbeaten run in all competition. Yeah. They're now winless in their last 3. Is it a danger they peak too soon?
I mean, Man City in the FA Cup semi-finals, hardly a statistic you need to worry about. The last 2 games, Bristol City and Ipswich. I mean, Bristol City is a game that you'll be disappointed in that you didn't win that game, because the form that you've been in, you won 16 games on the bounce. You won 16 games on the bounce. I mean, that's remarkable in any division, irrespective of the Championship being the hardest division. This guy speaks very well. He now uses the positive. He takes the clarity of the situation as an opportunity. This is a fascinating last weekend of the season for the Championship. You couldn't write this better. You've got Hull playing Norwich on the last game of the season, and Wrexham playing Middlesbrough. Wrexham are 1 place above Hull to get into the playoffs on the same points, but with goal difference coming into play. Middlesbrough still have a shot at the automatic, so they're going to turn up. And so that makes the game for Wrexham very difficult. Hull playing Norwich, Ipswich playing QPR. I said yesterday I thought Ipswich would get a point at Southampton. They had to come back into that game. They went 1-0 up and they went 2-1 down. Once Southampton were in front, they're normally in front, and off they go. So you've got to give a lot of plaudits to Ipswich. I think they'll beat QPR on the last game of the season. But it makes a fascinating set of outcomes. And this guy, to me, who wants... I mean, Middlesbrough regained their poise. They lost it completely. They seemed to be really off the reservation. They came back last week and won 5, and now they're back in the mix again to be automatically promoted. So you couldn't write a better script, besides the fact that the Championship has already been decided with Coventry up and away and the champions, for a football format to be working in its finest. And it brings out all the best outcomes. There's no one's decided automatically. And as also, I can assure you that when you're in that situation, you want to be winning games going into the playoffs. And also, it alters the games that you'll be playing. So if you finish 3rd rather than 4th, you play the team that's in 6th rather than 5th, and away it all goes round in those sort of cycles.
Home and away as well.
Home and away becomes an advantage of it all. So it makes a brilliant set of outcomes. I think Ipswich will be automatic, and I think Southampton. I mean, you can't. I mean, Millwall have done remarkably well, but and all the teams are in decent nick. The only one that's slightly fallen off the boiler but has got back in again was Wrexham, because Wrexham got smashed 5-1. The other day by whoever it was. I think it's by Southampton, of course. So you look at it and say, what a set of playoffs, and who would want? I mean, Southampton, in his first 10 games, this young manager who speaks brilliantly in every interview I've seen him, took 12 points. In his next 10 games, he takes 24, and his last 8, he's taken 20. This is remarkable form. And you know, and Ipswich would have been really put to the sword to get a point out of that game. And they're the team that have just come down from the Premier League with all the money and all the budgets and all the experience and all the advantages. And Southampton were in a bit of disarray. I know they had the same circumstances, but they've come down. They've had managers that have, you know, been gotten rid of during the middle of the season or at the beginning of the season. This 33-year-old manager shows you it doesn't really matter how old you are, as long as you can command and demand people's attention and talk sense and get players playing the way that they want to play and should play. Look at this. This is even when Palace went up in my time, when Sunderland did it under Roy Keane, when he took them from the bottom 3, they weren't in the bottom 3, but they were close to it. I don't think you can look at a set of form like this and go 16 wins on the bounce, and also beating Arsenal in a cup quarter-final in amongst that.
Yeah.
That's
Not
remarkable.
But they would rather be where Ipswich are, though, Danny.
Oh, yeah, of course, and destiny in your own hands, of course.
And if Ipswich slip up and go back into the playoffs, what does that do for you mentally?
Do you know what, Jim? I'd playoffs in the 2 leagues below with Crewe in my early days, and I didn't really overthink it because I was so young. But I think if I was in the Ipswich, because some of those players have had a taste of the Prem as well, so you desperately want it again. I think that would be hard to deal with. I don't know if you've done it at Palace where you've fallen out and then had to go in the playoffs. So I think it was the other way around maybe. But that is a tough one. Very rarely do you see someone drop out late and then
pick up again.
Yeah. And that's where the manager becomes so important. But you'd think that even if that happened to Ipswich, with the experience they've got now, maybe they'd be okay. But this is the great, just changing the subject a little bit. Well, the playoffs being the subject, I can't remember a time without them now. They were a brilliant introduction. I don't know whose invention it was or whose idea. It wasn't yours, was it?
No.
Can't
lay claim to that.
I think it just makes the season go on for so many fans and players, and it's a brilliant.
It'd be interesting to see what this new innovation
next season
does, because it takes you down to 8 places, doesn't it? And increases because looking at the other tiers of football, like the MLS, and looking at that and how many teams participate all the way to the back end of the season, thinking it's a participation league rather than a winning league. But actually, if you can keep more engagement and games have more reason in them, then you get the attendances, you get the broadcast deals, and everything goes round in a circle. But this is I don't think, for purpose of your question, I understand it. I don't think there's a parallel universe where Ipswich will not deal with QPR last game of the season. Because if they don't, then they need to have a good look at themselves. QPR are a nondescript side, sitting at the back end of the table with nothing to play for, and Ipswich have got a fervent Portman Road fan.
But like someone a bit nervous in the beginning, silly foul or a handball where you're sent off, you're down to 10 men.
But I think McKenna will get hold of it. I think he's experienced enough now, knows his way around. I think he's got the chops to do it.
Yeah.
And of course, it will fulfill my outcome.
You're right, though, Simon, about Tonda Ecker. I mean, this ridiculous 20-game unbeaten run in all competition.
He's winning in games, not just drawing. They're winning them.
So, but if it is about momentum, they're now winless in their last 3.
I know.
So it's condensed things to the playoffs.
One of them was Man City in an FA Cup.
Well, what did the
and they haven't lost.
But it still affects momentum. What is James? Here's Southampton fan James, who's joining us for a chat this morning. James, where are you at the moment regards where your club is and what you've got to do? Good morning.
Morning, gents. Hope you're all well. I was, like Simon said, when Tonda took over after Will Steele, which was just an absolute embarrassment in itself, the club was at a very low, toxic place. And look at where we are now. He's really turned the club around. And if we hadn't have dropped points at the beginning of the season where we shouldn't have, and I think we'd be in the automatics by now. And like you say, I was very sort of not wanting to go up, but now I feel like we're ready. And like you say, how many games unbeaten we've been, how this club's turned around by Tonda. We've taken it to Man City and Arsenal in the Cup. So I'm ready for us to go up. It's just hopefully we can do the business in the playoffs.
I think you've got a hell of a chance.
So do I. But
at one stage you weren't wanting your team to go up. Did you say that, James?
Yes, I think that was it. I just think the way, especially just after Will Steele had gone, and the way that it was the toxicity and the team was just all over the place, getting changed all the time, and hats off to Tonda. If it's not going the way it is, he will change it. Not like we did with Russell Martin in the Premier League, where, that was just an embarrassment in itself. But if we were passing out from the back and we were just getting found out game after game, he wouldn't change it. We keep going with the same thing.
Yeah.
And clubs knew what we were going to do. But with Tonda, if it's not working, he will change it. And we still look absolutely brilliant.
Well, you've got to go to Preston now, James. Thank you very much indeed for the call. Simon, no matter what, whoever gets to that Championship playoff final and wins it, blinking well deserves to go up.
You look at it and say last year, Sunderland managed to eke their way through. Somehow or another, they got past Coventry. And somehow they managed to navigate Sheffield United, because it was not a great final, but notwithstanding it had the jeopardy in it for the fans that watched it. It's interesting the fans say if we'd have got more points at the beginning of the season, we would have been at the top of the league. If you got more points at the beginning of the season, you wouldn't have Tonda Ecker.
I was thinking the same.
You wouldn't have the revolution that you've got.
Yeah.
It is what it is. What you've got there seems to be a very clear thinking, concise communicator. Given the fact this is not his mother tongue.
Yeah.
He communicates concisely and precisely. He's 33 years of age, and I think ultimately you have the situation where if you're old enough, if you're good enough, you're old enough. But he's captivated the players' attention. You very rarely see a team go on a run like this, and they put it to everybody.
They're the ones.
They won them up against City.
They're the ones seeing the others won't want.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Southampton, it condemns Saints to the playoffs, as we've been explaining. They go to Preston. 3 teams now fight it out for one last automatic promotion place on Saturday. Ipswich, Millwall and Middlesbrough. And you won't miss a trick either on talkSPORT or talkSPORT 2. It's 10:45 and we're live on talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes. But surely with players, Martin, conning referees with fake injuries and hence pausing games, there is a culture of distrust that's been sown by the very players.
Yeah, and with the goalies particularly, we saw that in the FA Cup yesterday. You know, caused a mini riot with Leeds players going berserk when the Chelsea keeper goes down. So I just think they got it right. And I think Glasner's right. I don't want to be just seeing the game stop there because somebody's got an injury. You know, he got up. He tried to get to his feet. We could see that there was an issue, but it was in the same action. I don't think you can stop it for that.
Even if it's a goal, is there a difference here in that it's a goalkeeper?
But what does the rules say? These guys make the rules up as they go along. They've made the rules up as they go along, and they now think that the rules that they've made up are the ones that everyone's got to abide by. The fact is that players have somehow managed to coerce referees into believing that every time someone falls over and hurts themselves, the game's got to be stopped.
And they sent us a picture that made me feel so ashamed. We look like hoarders.
Chris Marshall! Yeah, I'm actually recovering from an accident right now. You've landed loose today, haven't you? Yeah, don't shake the arm, Chris, too much.
You're with Danny Boyle, who's like the maddest director ever. He's got so much energy. He's like you.
Wednesday morning, almost out of April, aren't we? Wednesday, April the 29th. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes. Later on this morning, we're going to be talking about Brighton and what they've done for the women's game, building a new stadium specifically for the Brighton women. The Chief Executive, Paul Barber, is going to be joining us live on this show. Manchester City have been left fuming after the Premier League rejected their proposals over fixture rearrangements, leaving them having to play 3 matches in 7 days within their title run-in. Let me break this down for you. City had been in discussions with the league over the rescheduling of 2 fixtures, Bournemouth away and Palace at home. Now, the match v Bournemouth, originally scheduled on the 17th of May, needed to be moved because City had reached the FA Cup final, while their home game against Palace, initially due to be played in March, was also awaiting a new date. So, the Premier League have now confirmed this. On the 13th of May, City will play Palace at home. The 16th of May, it's the FA Cup final, and they're in it. The 19th of May, Bournemouth will play City. The 24th of May, City will play Villa. You look at that, and City realise, as everybody realises, that's 3 games in 7 days for them. So that scenario, as I say, 3 times they'll play in 7 days before the final weekend of the season. and they were exploring different options, including swapping the Palace and Bournemouth fixtures and allowing for an extra day of recovery for the FA Cup final. Anyway, that's what the Premier League have decided. Alternatively, City wanted to play Bournemouth on the 12th of May, the FA Cup final on the 16th, then take on Palace at home on the 19th, and City at home to Villa on the 24th, and finish with 2 home games in the Premier League. But no, that has been knocked back, and the Premier League are saying, you're doing it our way, which means 3 games in 7 days. They're fuming, Simon. Manchester City, are they right to be fuming?
The only time I ever hear anybody fume is in sport. I've never known someone fume in any other walk of life. I don't know what fuming looks like. But as far as being slightly disappointed with the outcome, I should imagine that they are. Because who wouldn't want to have 2 nice little home games at the end of the season to finish off your title challenge? Who wouldn't want that momentum? I can understand some of their argument, because the original game against Crystal Palace was the earlier game, so you would have imagined that it might have featured earlier. You don't fancy facing Bournemouth before an FA Cup final, because Bournemouth is tough opposition, and of course, let's not forget they took their best player. And so, of course, who would want City to be in any shape or form disadvantaged by their own achievements? Who would want Manchester City to be disadvantaged by being in cup finals and having the best players available to them and the biggest squad? I mean, there's a one-day difference. There's a one-day difference. We're talking about one day in this equation. And whilst we know that the argument is the margins of small gains are all prevalent, sometimes you just have to get on with it and accept that the wonderful nature of your achievements put you in a slightly invidious position domestically. The fact you've got the best players, the fact you can go into the transfer market and buy the best players in January gives you an added advantage. Can't get on with it. Get on with it. I mean, we've got into this stage now where I want people to have an opinion. I want people to be able to express themselves. I don't want to be in a dictatorship. But sometimes you give people too much of a voice and they keep on pushing the envelope, and their sense of entitlement ramps up. So all of a sudden they're outraged by getting something that they're not entitled to in the first place. How can it be reasonable that they finish the season with 2 home games in a run into a Premier League? That's a massive advantage. They can rotate their squad for the FA Cup final. They can rotate their squad if they want to for that particular game.
I don't think it's a big problem that they've asked. There's an obvious reason why they've asked when you break it down.
But Arsenal want to get a week.
Yeah,
to
they
recover.
They are. Yeah.
In between their last 3 fixtures.
Yeah, but they've also got to play league game sandwiched between 2 semi-finals against Atletico. Man City don't have that. So it swings and roundabouts. Exactly. But the main reason they've done it, and I understand it from a footballing perspective, they don't want to... Pep would rather play his best team in the FA Cup final. But if you've got Bournemouth away, which is the toughest fixture, I think, on paper, 3 days after the FA Cup final, he's going to have to think about adjusting his team to play Chelsea. But that's the advantage of having this wonderful squad. Even that team he picked against Southampton, it was full of talent. And, people like Foden coming in, it was hardly putting in young lads or inexperience. It reminds me a little. I remember when Des Kelly and Jurgen Klopp had that on the pitch, and Des pulled him up on his whinging about
the broadcast,
12 and all that business. And I was with Des. I was thinking, you know what? You're in such a privileged position. You're fighting on all these fronts. Why? I don't know. Hopefully Pep.
That was one of the rare occasions where Jurgen Klopp got made to look rather foolish because he got completely shut down by Des Kelly.
Yeah, and he
had nowhere to go with it.
No, he had nowhere to go.
Yeah. Toothless Gwyn disappeared.
Yeah. This is what the end of the season. If City had wanted to envisage what the end of the season was going to look like for them, Simon, with no Champions League football, remove that from the equation. But this is what they would have wanted anyway, isn't it?
Sure, but that's
a serious tilt at winning the Premier League title,
of course,
an FA Cup final in there as well.
Understood.
This is what they would have wanted.
But this is why they buy the best players and have the bandwidth of a squad that's so remarkably deep in quality and so sufficient at being able to get outcomes that you just have to take the rough with the smooth. They'll make the argument that overseas, we've seen the situation. We saw the situation with PSG being able to get a game moved. And I asked PSG, would you like a broadcasting deal that gives you lots and lots of money, so you'd have to put your hands in your pockets all the time and pay the players out of your own pockets and get the broadcasters to do it? Or would you like to have what you've got in France, which is no broadcasting deal and nobody cares? So the players can't have it always. Neither can the managers. They have all the riches and embarrassment of the Premier League, all the opportunities to buy the best players, all the best places to have an opportunity to be successful in. It comes with an obligation, and sometimes that's the broadcast and the broadcast responsibilities. And some of this will be about broadcasting.
Yeah.
Some of this guaranteed dollars for donuts will be about broadcasters. You can't have it always.
You've had a few dollars for donuts this week.
Have I?
That's one of the ones I like.
I've dug it out from the archives.
But Danny, how big an advantage does where and when fixtures land offer in a title race? How crucial is this? I mean, is this just noise from City just for the hell of it? Or are they right to be fuming?
No, I think there's validity in their request. But to be fuming seems a stretch with the quality they've got. But in answer to the first question, yes, scheduling and a bit of luck in that respect helps.
Who said they were fuming?
It's just Jim's assuming.
Yeah, it's a terminology. It's been superimposed.
I would imagine he's right, though.
Which particular
what
person?
Pep's like? I will hear about it.
Well, we'll see. I want to see.
Well, it's been brief, hasn't it?
The fume.
So, Sports News Reporter of the Year, Martin Ziegler, is on it. Manchester City were left fuming yesterday when the Premier League confirmed fixture rearrangements mean that they'll have to play 3 matches in 7 days. That's come from the top reporter.
Well, Arsenal have got 3 matches in the next 7 days.
I hear that, but who's
fuming is fuming.
But who's fuming?
All right, how about livid? They're not happy, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah, disappointed.
Can I trade you fuming for livid?
Yeah, I like livid better.
All right.
Fuming, I've got pictures of Dennis the Menace jumping up and down with a little steam cloud going out of his ear.
Livid is still quite strong.
Livid's good.
Up in Arms is another one.
Yes.
What was it?
Up in Arms. Manchester City are
grave reservations about the inherent fairness of the circumstances they're having to deal with.
Yeah.
That has more of a resonance to it, rather than fuming is like something a 12-year-old does when
it's a bit long-winded, though, that was.
Danny, let me ask you, as a former top player, these City players, are they fuming? Are they bothered?
No.
Presumably, if you're one of them, you just want to be in the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you fume when you're not picked?
Oh, if you're not picked, you're fuming.
You're fuming.
Yeah. Fuming. You're right. I can never remember you fume. Well, you weren't happy about the accommodation in Qatar to start with.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
We're not
fuming
checking in here.
Don't check
in.
I was incandescent.
Yeah.
I was. No, you were apoplectic.
Yes, that's
apoplectic.
Better.
That's a good one.
I wasn't fuming.
People have fumed at you though, as recently as Deontay Wilder.
Yes, he was. Well, I don't know what the hell he was. Right, just a moron. But a fuming moron. Yes.
Yeah. Where are you, Danny, with the running? Actually, do you now back Arsenal? Nothing to do with the fixture rearrangement, but do you lean towards Arsenal?
No, I just think the way City are playing compared to us, I think City will get over the line in the league. I don't know why. I've got a feeling Arsenal are going to win the Champions League.
Really? Okay.
I don't really want them to, but I've got a feeling.
But secretly, do you hope that they win nothing?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Maybe Arsenal win the Champions League.
That's wrong.
According to
bias.
Double award winner Danny Murphy, brackets 40. All right. That's us. Fuming, livid, but quite happy with the situation. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes.
Unai Emery to Real Madrid.
Oh, dear. My drink.
He's an experienced Spaniard whose heart is open to a move back home. He's enjoyed his time in the Midlands. His current partner is begging him to stay. But sometimes you just can't say no to something bigger and better. So will he ditch his babe in boring Birmingham for a magnificent madam in Madrid? Unai Emery to Real Madrid.
I don't think he'd want to go to
Are you
Real
swiping left or swiping right?
Swiping left.
Hold on a minute. Did you just say?
Do you know what?
He wouldn't want to go to Real Madrid? Well, no.
No, you don't get to explain.
Did you just say he wouldn't want to go to Real Madrid?
Reasons,
and the reason for that would be?
Because at Aston Villa, he runs the show. It's his club. Real Madrid is chaos. Look how the players treated Xavi Alonso.
It's Real Madrid.
Vinny Jr. walked off the pitch and went down the tunnel. And when he got taken off, it's not work for Arbeloa. It's a bit of a toxic job at the moment.
It's the biggest club in the world, one of them, certainly.
After Rangers.
After Glasgow Rangers, yes.
I don't think it works. I feel like what he's got going on at Aston Villa, he runs the club, he decides every decision. To go to Real Madrid and what? You could be there for 6 months and get the sack.
Is this...
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range, supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at bang on 11 a.m, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Chelsea captain and Euros winning defender Millie Bright is retiring from football at 32. After signing from Doncaster Bells, Bright lifted 20 trophies over 314 games at Chelsea, captained England in a World Cup final, and was a key part of the Euros triumph in 2022. Now, following one of the best Champions League games of all time, Danny Murphy admits some of the defending was poor.
Rather than focus on whether there was good or bad defending, what I enjoyed most is that styles make fights. You've got two teams who think they're the best, and you've got two teams who think we're going to come after you because I think we're better than you and we've got better players and we'll outscore you.
Vincent Kompany called PSG 5 Bayern Munich 4 a clash of similar ideas. He was unhappy with PSG's penalty, though, complaining about the handball rule changing every year. Tonight, Atletico Madrid versus Arsenal is live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m. Anyone looking for a cut-price defensive midfielder? We're told Man United will let Manuel Ugarte go for $25 million this summer. The first signing of the Ineos era cost them $50 million 2 years back. Former Ipswich coach Lee Grant says Kieran McKenna's side are timing their promotion run perfectly.
Kieran's done a wonderful job of keeping that ship steady and putting him in a great position now for promotion on the last day, which will be, in my opinion, Kieran's finest work as head coach at Ipswich Town.
After a comeback draw at informed Southampton, Ipswich need to beat QPR at home to seal second place. A thrilling final day in the Championship is live on talkSPORT for you on Saturday lunchtime. And former Wales centre George North will retire from rugby union at the end of the season. 121 Wales caps and 2 Lions tours. North says he's lived out a childhood dream. More at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The Kings trumpeted the transatlantic relationship during his visit to the US. And will Labour rue the day they voted not to investigate the Prime Minister and his handling of the Mandelson scandal? Amelia's back at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, where we've got a wider range of premium tyres than Britain has rainy days. Visit your local centre or book at quickfit.com today.
Warm and sunny for most of us. Few showers through the English Channel. Windy in the south, chilly along eastern coasts.
Good morning, everybody. 3 minutes past it, 11 o'clock. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Danny Murphy. We are live on talkSPORT, also live in your TV. Samsung, LG, Fire TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, Android, Google TV, even Prime Video. We're all sitting here, state-of-the-art cameras here in the studio here at talkSPORT, ably manipulated and beautifully moved about by Megan through the other side of the glass. Well done to you, Megan. A great job you do there. Making us all look good. How hard is that? Pretty much impossible.
Especially when we're fuming about something.
Especially when we're livid and fuming about something. It's been remiss of me. How's the back?
Not very good.
No.
And that's why I keep moving my people. I saw some observations about why do I keep holding my head in my hands. It's because I've got to do certain exercises to try and alleviate the pain. I can have an injection, but as I was saying to Danny, I don't really want to have a steroid injection in my back. I'd rather just whine come in here and whine.
Bit
and
too much information. I only wanted it.
Illicit
fine,
sympathy.
really. Or something.
If you want to ask a question, then expect an answer.
Well, is that why you've been sitting
was a monologue.
Yes. Like Rodin's The Thinker?
Yes.
Like this all week?
If I was Rodin as a thinker, I'd be completely out of place here, wouldn't I? But I'm doing it because that's the exercise I've been told to do.
Okay, listen. If you need any help, like knocking something abruptly back into shape, Danny and I are your man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I will be fuming.
All right. Okay, then you'll be livid and fuming. I wonder if a certain section of the Real Madrid support is going to be fuming, because there is big talk in Madrid that Jose Mourinho is on his way back there. He didn't exactly ingratiate himself to every Real Madrid fan while he was there first time around. But in view of what's happened to Real Madrid, maybe there are legs in this story. He is said to be the favoured choice of Real Madrid president Florentino Perez to replace Alvaro Arbeloa. Arbeloa, in interim control at the moment, has overseen 14 wins, 2 draws, but crucially 7 defeats. Real Madrid is set for a second successive trophyless season. That's virtually unheard of. To go one season without a trophy is one thing at Real Madrid. To go another one is virtually unheard of. So is it happening? Mourinho back to Real Madrid. Now, this exploded into headline news just yesterday. Curiously, a different kind of mood in Madrid this morning. Earlier on, I spoke to the host of La Liga TV, Phil Kitramalidis, and I said to him, so this one's doing the rounds big time, isn't it?
It is not on the front pages of any of the papers this morning. Obviously, Atletico Madrid playing in the Champions League are. I was looking inside these papers, these Madrid-based sports papers, which are often mouthpieces for the Real Madrid hierarchy. Florentino Perez is a very powerful man, and a lot of people often write what he wants them to write. And there's nothing really about Mourinho. There is nothing really from a Madrid perspective about Mourinho coming back to Real Madrid. They report on the reports that came out yesterday, but there aren't any kind of direct articles from well-placed, well-connected people, the usual suspects who I would expect to see talking about this. You might remember the slightly ridiculous TV show El Chiringuito, where Florentino Perez went to announce the Super League all those years ago. They had something on it last night, and they were saying it's narrowed down to Klopp or Mourinho. But yeah, this is a story that has come from outside of Spain rather than inside of Spain. And at the moment, I think they're just sort of reacting to the story rather than giving any information from inside the club. But what I can tell you is that Florentino Perez has wanted Jose Mourinho back for a long time. He has seen him as a potential problem solver for a while. He has this idealized version of how Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid competed, particularly against one of the best Barcelona sides in history, and won the league off them. So he's thought Jose Mourinho is the potential solution for a while now, and this is a decision from him. And yeah, it's big.
If it was to happen, and we know Mourinho left last time around somewhat under a cloud, how would his return be received?
He always leaves under some kind of cloud, doesn't he? I'll tell you what, Mourinho at Real Madrid was one of the most divisive figures this club has ever had. Half the fan base absolutely loved him. Half the fan base absolutely could not stand him. So I think it's going to be absolute box office viewing him coming back, because it would not be universally popular, let's put it like that. Obviously, he fell out with a number of high-profile players, not least Iker Casillas, and I saw yesterday Casillas put a post on X with just 3 emojis of popcorn. So he's excited to see what happens. He's not a universally loved figure. That said, you know, the people who love him absolutely love him and would love him to come back, and feel like this Real Madrid squad needs someone like him to get the players running again, to build an idea, to build an identity. Possibly the majority of people are saying this seems like a retrograde step. Really? Mourinho again?
I mean, Phil, there are so many different subplots to it, aren't there? One wonders how the dynamic would play out between Jose Mourinho and Vinicius Jr., for example, considering what happened in that recent Champions League tie.
And that recent Champions League tie felt like it was actually kind of burning bridges with Mourinho after what happened. Mourinho is a very good manager and getting people back on his side. So I think if he was to come and Vinicius was there, I would back him to try and get Vinicius on side. But there is also the subtext and the subplot that Vinicius hasn't signed a new contract yet. And he is about a month away from going into the final year of his contract. And these contract negotiations have gone on a long time. So if Mourinho was to come back, would that influence these contract negotiations? That is something else to bear in mind as well. So yeah, as you said, lots of subplots with this.
Finally, Phil, you're there, I'm not. You're immersed in it. Real Madrid on course for a second successive trophyless season. They are well and truly in the grip of a crisis, aren't they?
Totally. I mean, they're in the crisis when they lose 2 games, Jim. So if they've gone 2 seasons without a trophy, it's a full-blown catastrophe for Real Madrid. And people are saying, big changes are needed. I guess bringing someone like Jose Mourinho would be a big move, because you know what's happened. The idea is that Mbappe has come here. Now, Kylian Mbappe has come. They signed him 2 seasons ago. One of the best players, if not the best player in the world. They just won the European Cup. It looked like they were going to dominate. And they haven't. And they haven't been able to get the best out of Mbappe and Vinicius and Jude Bellingham. Those 3, they're 3 best players. There have been 3 managers that have tried to fit those 3 in a team and get the best out of them. Carlo Ancelotti, Xabi Alonso, Alvaro Arbeloa. None of those 3 managers have been able to do it. Now, there are quite a few problems with Real Madrid, but that's the most eye-catching one. They've got these 3 brilliant, expensive, world-class players that don't seem to be able to fit and play in a team together consistently and lead the side to silverware. So whoever comes in, whether it's Jose or not, has got a big problem up there to try and fix.
Phil Kitcher-Melides, the host of La Liga TV, speaking to me earlier on. Simon, when you look at it, after all this time and all that baggage, is the lure of Mourinho still not dead?
Well, I mean, this is a club that can probably cope with Mourinho in terms of baggage, because it's a club that has its own baggage with its expectations, with his attitude and outlook. This is a club that doesn't turn up with its players to Ballon d'Ors because if they don't win, they expect to be. This is a club that doesn't think the World Club Championship is worth them competing in because they can get more playing in league games or whatever else we've had to listen to them. It's a very rare circumstance. It's happened before in their past where they've gone a couple of seasons without winning anything. There seems to be a slight disconnect between how the players are performing and what the expectations are in terms of some of the attitudes and outlooks that I read between the lines. And maybe there's a perception. Perez obviously liked Mourinho. I remember watching him go there the first time round. I remember watching in that game when Barcelona really handed them their head. I think it was 5. We were just talking during the break. And Mourinho learnt from that. I know you don't like him and he makes you fume, but there is a variety of things that Mourinho brings to something. He's still one of those managers that's bigger than the dressing room. And in certain clubs, that's a commodity that's very, very valuable.
I think he probably feels that they need some discipline.
That's my point.
They tried out, they've gone with Alonso, the up-and-coming coach. They brought him in, and there was a bit of discipline.
The players beat him up, yeah.
And then Arbeloa struggling. That dressing room needs a serious leader. I mean, since Ancelotti, they've not found it, have they? And the reality is that although Ancelotti's a very different character to Mourinho, there's still that seniority, experience, that ability to create discipline and a harmonious. I don't think it's a bad idea because the thing, even if he comes in and doesn't quite get it, they'll just move on to the next one.
But is there not an irony in there somewhere that you're looking to a habitual misbehaviour to bring you discipline?
No, that does seem a contradiction, doesn't it? But somehow Mourinho's always been able to court the ill discipline himself or the bad press and the silliness and keep it away from his players. Maybe that's why he is the way he is.
I mean, I think habitual misbehaviour is a bit of a stretch. I mean, we've seen...
Well, we know how he behaved. The rap sheet is as long as hold
on. I mean, he's probably managed, 1,200, 1,400 games, and we can probably look at the fact that he's on 2 hands, maybe tops, of instances where he stepped across the line. I hear you. Yeah. There are instances where you think if you're trying to create a culture, then you need to be beyond reproach yourself. That's it. But there is also a mentality sometimes, not all the time. Don't do as I do, do as I say. And it's one thing having players that are spiky and aggressive to the opposition. It's another thing having players that are disrespectful towards the club that they're playing for. They're two sets of disciplines. I know what you're doing is conflating the argument, but the argument isn't about the standard of the players' performance and their discipline record. It's about their commitment to the club and their preparedness to do what's required of them, which is the reasons why they saw off Alonso, because they didn't want to follow his direction. Mourinho will bring that. The players will understand where they stand with Mourinho. There might be a conflict in terms of the fact that he is not the most disciplined individual when it comes to how he behaves in certain sections of the
and what he
opposition.
says as well, Simon. I mean, as recently as that.
Yeah, but I take it with a pinch of salt. You don't.
As recently as that Benfica Real Madrid game with the problem with Prestiani earlier on, Vinicius Junior, and he said at the time that Vinicius Junior brings this upon himself. I mean, at times
we weren't privy to the context of the conversation.
Both his behaviour and some of the things he has said are pretty well nigh shameful.
I hear you, and given the fact the observation was about racism, he can't ever make that observation. But we don't know the conversation that went on between Vinicius Junior and Jose Mourinho that might have prompted Jose Mourinho to say that, as ill-advised as it was, because it then brings the brickbats to him. He may well not have been referring to the circumstances surrounding the alleged racism, which now seems to have been gone away, and the guy's been charged with homophobic comments, despite Paul Elliott's best attempts to suggest that it was dyed in the wool. The fact of the matter is that Mourinho remarked upon something as a result of a conversation with Vinicius Junior, and the conflation of it was that he was basically saying that Vinicius Junior has brought the racism upon himself.
I think, is he still relevant, Danny? Should he still be in the conversation to take over, allegedly, reportedly, the biggest club in the world?
Not on recent jobs. Not on recent.
He couldn't do it for Fenerbahce.
No,
against
the other question, of course, is who else is out there who's capable of handling Real Madrid? There's not many.
Klopp is, isn't he?
Klopp is. I'm sure if Klopp had said yes.
And Phil Kitchamilito's mentioned.
But the other thing, when we talk about Mourinho negatively, I get it where you're going with it. But when you listen, if you go back to his time at Chelsea and his time at Real Madrid, where he had success, both big clubs, the players who played under him, bar one or two, talk about him,
swore by him.
Absolutely,
you know, and
that's the big thing. And that, as much as it might be not for you, that's the litmus test of what you do with a manager. Of the two, Danny, if you were sat with the choice and saying who would you want into Real Madrid, not that either of us really care that much about Real Madrid, but who would you want to go into Madrid? Would you have Klopp or would you have Mourinho?
No, I'd go Klopp.
Would you?
Yeah, because I think he's got.
I think so too.
He's got the lovely balance of having that ability to get players on board and like him, like Mourinho does, but also somehow brings the fans together along with him.
Yeah, sure. In the meantime, we're going to be joined the other side of this break by Brighton Chief Executive Paul Barber. Looking forward to that. Alex Crute working as usual out there. He tells me in the last few moments, Manchester United are willing to sell Manuel Ugarte for £25 million this summer.
It's hardly breaking.
United paid PSG $50 million 2 summers ago to make Ugarte the first signing of the Ineos era. So maybe Ugarte is on his way.
They're prepared to sell him for that because
for
that's
half the price.
The reasons why they're prepared to sell him for that is because that's what he's on these books for now. They bought him for 50, stuck him on a 4-year contract. He's on their books for 25 million. So they'll sell him for no cost in terms of profitability. That's why he's going out at that number.
Yeah. Watch how you sit there. Don't hurt your back. It's 11:15.
You know, Xavi Simons, it's not Molyneux. You can't blame Spurs' pitch for that. But I have to say, mate, we've got to have a look at this medical team. Well, I think they changed it last year.
But it's a medical team. Like... But so there's two parts to it. You and I both know, right? Strength and conditioning and training. There has to be joined up thing. The medical team only deal with injured players. It's not their fault they're injured. The medical team try and get them back. Where the medical team need to be looked at is the length in time that these players are out for. Some of these players, what's happened to Kulusevski? Is he still even with us? I mean, he has just completely disappeared. I know Maddison's been on the bench recently.
Yeah, but he's not fit. He can't play.
But you need these players back. That's where the medical team come into it. But in terms of picking up injuries, you can't blame the medical team for picking up injuries. That comes down to training.
Isn't there injury prevention? I don't know. I mean, like hamstrings and things like that. You can look at
soft tissue,
tissues and things like. I mean, ACL. I mean, what? You can't blame the medical team for that. What I can blame the medical team for is the fact that they put eye spray on his knee when he's off, and everyone in the ground could see that he was in a bad way. Xavi Simons, he was in a bad way, and they got him up. I think they made him do a couple of jumps to see if he was all right. They put eye spray on his knee.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Whether Simon likes it or not, in his time at Crystal Palace, of course, great rivals Brighton. Brighton having a good run into the end of this season. They're up at St James's Park this weekend, but under Fabian Hürzeler, they've been going well in sixth position at the moment. So they're trying to keep pace behind Villa, Liverpool and the rest. It's a tall order, but they're having a decent end to the season. But Brighton in the news, not just for that reason. They plan to build the first purpose-built women's football stadium in Europe. 10,000 seats at least. The new ground will sit next to the Amex and is scheduled to open by the 2030-2031 season. And once completed, the ground will be one of only 3 dedicated women's football stadiums globally. Elsewhere, we've one at Kansas City's current KC Stadium and Denver Summit's planned venue. So they've got a couple in the US, none here, and Brighton have got in there first. Their chief executive, Paul Barber, joins us live in the show. Paul, good morning to you. How much of an achievement is this, Paul?
Morning, Jim. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I mean, it's a big statement for us. We've been looking to do this now for quite some time. Obviously, trying to find the land in and around Brighton and Hove is very difficult. It's very expensive. But we've been able to secure some land next to the Amex, and we're looking forward now to securing planning permission and getting on with the project.
Paul, no one else in Europe has done this. What's your motivation for doing it at Brighton?
Well, I think first there's a need on our part. We currently play our women's games at Crawley, which is, as you know, north of Brighton, not in our city. It's a red stadium. We're a blue club. It's designed for men's football, and Crawley have got their own, obviously, important league programme of games that they need to fulfil. So we're always a tenant and therefore second choice on timings. And second reason is desirability. We feel it's really important to give our women's team the best possible chance of winning matches in the Women's Super League, progressing as a team. And we want to respect women's sport, and in particular women's football, which we see as a great growth opportunity for the future.
Simon and Danny are with me. Paul, why have you opted not to do what other clubs do, in as much as let the women play their matches at your stadium at the Amex?
Well, I think, again, a couple of reasons. First of all, the commercial realities of the game at the moment mean that the men's team are always going to get priority on fixture timings and the use of the pitch and when those games can take place. So the women are always going to be second place at the moment, while the finances of the game are what they are. And secondly, we want to right-size the audience for our women's team. You know, unfortunately, at the moment, we haven't got a big enough audience for our women's team to play matches at the Amex, where there'll be a great atmosphere, a great broadcast spectacle. You know, very often we're playing there to largely empty seats, and we don't think that's fair to the team. We don't think that's going to drive the best performance. So we've decided to build a stadium that is the right size for the audience for our women's team, give us opportunities to grow. And hopefully at some point in the future, whether it's 10 years, 5 years, 15 years or 20 years, we might have a nice problem where we're selling out every game at our 10,000 seater women's stadium. And we have to look to see if we can use the Amex more often.
I get it, Paul. Simon, you've always said there is space for investability in women's football.
Very much so, yeah.
Brighton, are they showing here that they can be a trailblazer in this area?
Well, innovation and clear thinking is the cornerstone of Tony Bloom and Paul Barber's construct of Brighton in all aspects. So it's no surprise to me. They will look at the commercial opportunity as well as the circumstances around women's football. We've seen it. We've seen Angel FC in America, what that's become. We've seen what Chelsea have done, albeit for different reasons, about the valuation of women's football to prop up the men's game. We've seen Aston Villa do the same thing. The commercial investability of women's football, it is the next frontier to some extent for external finance to find its way into football. By separating women's football from men's football, I think that's the right way to go, making it a standalone proposition, having its own stadium and commercial opportunities. One hopes that the broadcasters will come along, because with all this noise, all this virtue signaling from broadcasters about how important women's football is, they don't underpin it with any commercial rights and pay anything for the game. And all of that has to come to the fore, and it will come to the fore. So I think it's in keeping with the way that Brighton operate. This management team, Paul, Tony above him, look at the way that they operate. Look at the way that they operate as a football club, whether they're Brighton or not. And my rancor towards Brighton is obviously in the rivalry between Palace, but my respect for these boys is there to be seen because they do things right. And this is another way of looking at the commercial opportunities. Women's football will benefit from it. And they'll be in a position to harness the opportunity when it arrives. So well done them. Fair play.
And do you see others following Brighton's lead here?
Well, I mean, it's difficult in London. Paul will understand this. That whilst it's, again, the price in Brighton is expensive. I've lived in Brighton. I know what that area is very much like. And Paul lives down there. He's got a place down there. It's a lovely part of the world. But there's more opportunities to potentially get some land. Palace wouldn't have the same opportunity. If Palace wanted to build a purpose-built stadium, they can't even get some planning permission for their own stadium.
Right.
So it's the advantages is there. But notwithstanding it, you still got to have the will. And they've got the will and the thought process and the innovation. And like with due respect to Brighton, like with Hearts and Union Gilloise, there is a reason why what Tony Bloom gets involved with eventually becomes a success, because it's clear thinking with innovation at its centre.
Sure. I mean, it's always said, Paul, and obviously you don't need to comment on this or agree with it or otherwise. When it comes to yourself and Tony Bloom, this is a very effective working partnership, and you're always up to something for the good of the game, for the good of your club. And this is a perfect example of it.
Well, he's the brains. I'm just the workhorse, Jim. So from that point of view, you know, we're a good combination. And obviously Tony's got the financial means to back us. And, you know, this is a 75, 80 million pounds investment. And, you know, it's a significant statement, I think, for the women's game. And that's why we feel we have to get this right. We want to look at everything in this new stadium, from the surface of the pitch right the way through to the way the dressing rooms are designed, right the way through to the way we cater for a very different audience for the women's team that we get from the men's team. And so this is an opportunity to really sort of set some new benchmarks. And we're excited to do that because, you know, there are a lot of injuries in the women's game which are currently unexplained. Is it the pitch surface? Is it the footwear? Is it a combination? Is it just the physiology of women being different from men? And we're not necessarily reflecting that in the way we physically develop the women to play elite sport. So we want to get into all of that. And then the dressing rooms, you know, if you look at the Amex at the moment, as you know, you've all been there, you know, the dressing rooms are great, but they're designed for male athletes, and there's nothing wrong in that. But we just have to recognize that if we then expect our women's team to play there and perform at the highest level, we're not necessarily giving them the best chance because, for example, we have open showers, women prefer cubicles. We have a limited number of cubicle toilets, but women need cubicle toilets, and there's a lot of them in the women's team, obviously. So there's the small things like that are significant. And then when you look at the audience, you know, we have a lot of young families that come to the women's games, you know, mums and dads with small children, pushchairs, buggies. You know, we don't cater for those sorts of things at the Amex and not at many football stadiums in the country. So we need to really rethink everything that we currently do and plan in the men's game and look at it through a different lens in order to give ourselves the chance of being commercially successful, as Simon says. We see the opportunity as being huge, and it's not going to be tomorrow and probably not even in the next 3 to 5 years, but in the future we think the opportunity is absolutely enormous, and we want to be at the front of that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's the point I'm making, Paul. If you look at what Chelsea have done with the 250 million valuation, might be for different reasons, but the growth space, every time I talk to investors that want to invest in football, they look at the women's game as the next big opportunity. Is it all your money? Are you getting any funding or any grants or any opportunities of support from any of the governing bodies?
It's all Tony's money, Simon. If there are some pots out there with of money from government and other sources, we're certainly going to access them if we can. Ironically, in the last sort of 12 hours, I guess, I've had as many emails from potential funders for the stadium as I have from people saying, this is amazing, well done. So there's definitely an appetite out there for others to fund it. But at the moment, the plan is for us to do it ourselves, or for Tony to do it himself. And that gives us the control. It gives us the sort of the future upside if it comes. And I think, as I said before, we think this is the right thing to do. It's not for every club. We've got a lot of respect for what Arsenal have done and the fact they've got a huge audience. They get to the Emirates. Chelsea moving back to Stamford Bridge. That's also good for them and right for them. But they've been investing in women's football for a lot longer than us, and they've built their crowds over time. We're doing it a slightly different way, and it's very similar, as you know, to the way we have built the men's club. We built the infrastructure, we brought in the people, we created and sustained the policies, and eventually performance has come. And relatively speaking, we've made good progress on the men's side, and we want to try and replicate that on the women's side. There's still a long way to go with both. You know that.
Yeah.
We still haven't won a major trophy yet, and we'd love to do that. But we've got a lot of work to do on both. And at the moment, things have been going pretty well on the pitch for both men and women this season.
I think Danny's coming in with a final one, Paul.
Yeah, just a quick one, Paul, on the current. Obviously, the men's team in their current form, because they're in great form, been a good watch over recent times, recovered themselves. What's been the biggest change? What's been the reason for the turnaround? Because it was only a couple of months ago that they were struggling and the fans were getting a bit disgruntled at one of the games I was at, at the end of the game.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, Danny, no panic, no change, just constant and consistent reassurance of the players and the coaching staff that what they were doing and some of the performances that weren't getting the results would eventually turn around to become results. And We've had that philosophy, as you know, for a long time. And the key thing is that we shut out the noise. We don't allow that noise to sort of penetrate the club insofar as it's possible to stop that. And the most important thing is to give a 33-year-old Premier League coach who finished 8th in his first season and is currently 6th in his second, all the encouragement he needs to keep doing what he's doing, because he's doing a great job. And so are the players. The players have been magnificent. The Milners, the Welbecks, the Grosses, the Dunks, Hinchelwoods, they've all been, outstanding in recent weeks, because they've had the reassurance that we're not panicking because a few things didn't go our way in the middle of the season. So, hopefully we can close out the last 4 games as well as we can and give ourselves a chance of finishing in one of those European spaces. But it's so congested. It is too congested, actually, for my liking. But it's a great end to the season, and we're really looking forward to going to Newcastle at the weekend.
Paul, it's always good to speak to you. Probably like me, you were surprised to hear that former Crystal Palace owner Simon Jordan lived in Brighton. When was that?
He's lived everywhere.
I lived around the corner from Withdean Grange, where the old MI5 site was for the telecoms centre.
All right.
And my family come from there. And I also worked down in Darrington-upon-Sea, so shut your trap.
He did have an army of security people protecting him, though, Jimmy.
Exactly.
Oh, well, in Brighton, no, hardly needed that.
Paul, as always, Paul Barber, thank you so much for joining us live. Brighton Chief Exec Paul Barber, doing great things at that club with Tony Bloom. 11:30. We'll keep our eye on Newcastle. Members of PIF travel into Newcastle this week for their annual meeting with the club's departmental heads. How high on the agenda do you think Eddie Howe's name is going to be, Alex?
I think it has to be pretty high because it's been a disappointing season. There's no two ways about that. They're a lot lower down the Premier League table than he would have expected at the start of the campaign. Looks like they're not going to get European football at all next season, which might help them in the long run because I think they found it a struggle balancing Champions League and domestic ambitions. But if I was Eddie Howe, I'd have some questions for the owners. You know, there's players who want out of that football club, Anthony Gordon being one. Sandro Tonali, I don't think it was a coincidence that his agent was leaking stories that Arsenal were interested in January. Tino Livramento, I'm told, has no intention of signing a new contract. But they've got to handle this summer a lot better than they did last. The Alexander Isak saga was allowed to drift on for far too long. If they were going to sell him all along, as I understand was the case, they should have done it much earlier in the window. They would have been in a better position to get top targets. Because if Newcastle fans think that Nick Voltemada and Johan Wissa were anywhere near the top of Newcastle's list of potential options at the start of the summer, they're deluded. I think the recruitment was poor. I think the handling of the Isak situation was poor. And I would say be careful what you wish for, because this is a manager who's come in, he inherited a club who were battling against relegation. He's took them into the Champions League not once but twice. He's ended that long wait for domestic silverware. And I don't think he's necessarily getting the credit he deserves because they've had a bad season.
It's hard to disagree with.
After the world was treated to the mother of all first leg thrillers last night, talkSPORT's Jason Cundy doesn't think any Arsenal player gets into either Bayern or PSG's team.
The levels of quality in that game was nothing short of extraordinary. And it just goes to, in my opinion, it just goes to show how dull the Premier League is. That has embarrassed, and it's knocked the Premier League into a cocked hat.
Vincent Kompany called PSG 5, Bayern Munich 4, a clash of similar ideas. Here's European football expert Julien Laurent.
And yeah, look at what Vincent is doing already. I know it helps when you've got Olise and Diaz and Kane in those kind of form. I mean, Olise last night again, and we love Nuno Mendes, maybe the best left back in the world. But Olise made him look like an under-19.
Luis Enrique reckons PSG need 3 goals in Munich to win the tie. The second leg will be live on talkSPORT next Wednesday. Arsenal's turn tonight, though. Huge storms are forecast ahead of their game at Atletico Madrid, live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m. In the Championship, Kieran McKenna says Ipswich are in great shape to finish second. They came back to draw at informed Southampton. Tonda Eckhart's side are consigned to the playoffs. He spoke to talkSPORT's Ian Abrahams.
Is that something you're happy with?
No, I don't care.
You don't care that it might be a bit of extra pressure?
I'm happy with the pressure. It doesn't make a difference.
And if players confront an opponent while covering their mouths at the World Cup this summer, they will be sent off. FIFA's also bringing in red cards for any player who leaves the field in protest at a referee's decision. There's more at talksport.com.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. We're ready for the action. Are you? Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
It's that time. We're joined by Sean Martin from BetMGM. We're going to look at some of the top games and the odds around and about them. As well as that, we'll delve into the world of snooker. Sean, good morning to you. What about last night? Don't tell me anybody in the UK had PSG 5, Bayern Munich 4. And what about tonight? But let's start about the events in Paris.
Morning, lads. I think we've got to start with a congratulations on the SGA. First time I'm speaking to you since then, so very well deserved by the whole team, got to say.
Sean, you're part of it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. Danny, a double award winner the other night, of course, with Match of the Day as well.
Thanks, Jim.
But enough of Danny.
Well done, Danny.
Let's talk more about us. No, on you go. Sean, thank you for that. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, I was saying to the guys earlier, in the best possible way, it was like a school game at lunchtime, just all out attack, goal after goal, but obviously at the very highest level and forward play. 5-4 to PSG was about 140 to 1 before the game. We did have a handful of customers who got on it in play, so not pre-match, but in play. Odds ranging from about 16 to 1 to 29 to 1, and the one who backed it earliest, which I think was around about half time at 29 to 1, actually was the only one, I believe, who didn't cash out as well. So fair play to them.
Wow.
In terms of what that result's done to the tournament odds, it has shifted Bayern out slightly, actually. They were 8-5 favourites yesterday, now 2-1, even though they've got that second leg at home. PSG right alongside them at 2-1 as well. So the market still suggests that the winner will come from that tie. And that suggests that the two teams who play tonight go into the final as underdogs, whichever one of them makes it. It's currently pretty difficult to separate them too much tonight. We've got Atletico 37-20 to win, 31-20 for Arsenal to win, and 41-20 the draw, which is probably where I'll be looking, I must admit. To qualify across the two legs, Arsenal are odds on, which probably makes sense given their Champions League record so far, and the fact they hammered Atletico 4-0 at the Emirates earlier in the league phase, although I take Simon's point from earlier about how much that will matter coming into this next week. Two teams not in the best of form generally, though, I've got to point out. Arsenal back top of the league at the weekend, yes, but that was only their second win in 7. Atletico fourth in La Liga, 2 wins in 9. I don't actually think it will be, but if you think it's going to be the polar opposite of last night, it's 7-1 for a 0-0 draw. If you're Arsenal, though, lads, what is the minimum that you would take, the absolute minimum? Is it a draw, or is it even a 1-goal defeat?
I think if they come away there with a 1-goal defeat, I'll be disappointed. I really do. I think a draw is the least they'll accept with the quality they've got. And also, as well, it doesn't matter how far away their game was. If you give someone a good hiding earlier in the season, you do go there with a bit more confidence.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Sean, it hasn't gone unnoticed by Scottish football-loving Simon and Danny that there's a three-way race at the top of the Scottish Premiership.
Isn't that two-way now, do you think?
Well, it will be two-way if Hearts beat Rangers on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah. But what are you going with it, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting, Danish, to say that. We'll come at the odds in a wee second. There was a weird weekend up here. Celtic obviously kicked it off with a 3-1 win at home on Saturday. We'd spoken, Jim and Simon, on Thursday about Hibs and Hearts game in particular being the standout fixture and what a statement it'd be from Hearts to go and win it. They did win it. Helped somewhat, admittedly, by Hibs' kind of indiscipline and some would say stupidity in getting 2 red cards.
Exactly.
But nonetheless, they did get over the line. 3 points clear at the top. But get this, they're still not favourites to win the title. They're second in the betting at 5-4, so still over even money as well. Celtic, marginal favourites now at 6-5, so a hair's breadth between the two. That is really, really tight. Could even be a goal difference job come the end of the come the end of the season. Play one another on the final day.
Sean, have Hearts ever been favourites?
They were briefly favourites, I think about a month or so ago.
Right.
But
Right.
It's been flip-flopping and yeah, they've been top the whole time though, that in these last couple of months they've been top. But no, they're still not top of the betting here. And yeah, as I say, it could come down to goal difference. It could be a 1986, you'll remember that, Jim, the Albert Kidd year. It could come down to goal difference.
Yeah.
Rangers have actually got Hearts and Celtic in the same week, haven't they?
Rangers play Hearts on Monday and then Celtic the Sunday after, yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, even that, it could come down to goal difference with Celtic and Hearts playing one another on the last day of the season. The other big result at the weekend that actually did affect the odds even more than that, and I've got to say, I sat here on Thursday and said to you guys, I've waxed lyrical about Motherwell being the kingmakers, being the best team in the league all season, but I did say I don't think they'll get anything at Ibrox because they've been way off it lately. So what did they do? They went and played brilliant, 1-3-2, knocked Rangers down to third and out to 4-1 now in the betting, Rangers. So from what Danny said there, is it a two-horse race? Not quite, I agree with you, Jim. And I think things get even tastier as well because Celtic play first again this weekend, just under even money favourites away to Hibs on Sunday. Another chance to put pressure on the other two. And then Bank Holiday Monday, it's Hearts against Rangers at Tynecastle, which is monumental for both. But you would say particularly Rangers now. They're 75 favourites, even though Hearts not lost in the league at Tynecastle this season. And then, of course, as I say, a week after that, just a small matter of Celtic Rangers at Parkhead as well, Jim.
Unreal, isn't it? I mean, what a finish they have got in Scotland. And not just Rangers and Celtic involved, Hearts right in the thick of it as well. It is so refreshing to see it, Sean.
Yeah, and I mean, I've not been a massive fan of the split over the years. I still think it's kind of manufactured, but this season of all seasons, it's actually made everything even more interesting because you're forced to play the teams round about you the last 5 games, and that means all three, as I've said, all three need to play one another in the final weeks.
That's right. And Simon, thanks for your contribution on that. The Miami Championship. Where are we going? Where are we going with that? Would you say, Sean?
I was going to ask Simon if he's changed his prediction.
I did actually have something to say, but I wasn't allowed to get in because Jim's
then.
utterings were more prevalent.
Come on, then.
No, I won't now. But what I did say last week, again, it's lessons to me, and I must not tip people. Every time a tip comes into my mind, I must say, don't do it, because I tipped Rangers last week. I said to you before the weekend, I think Rangers are the form side. I think they're going to go in, and if anyone's going to displace Hearts, it's going to be Rangers. And of course, they're subsequently going to lose to Motherwell. I want Hearts to win. I hope Hearts win. I think the championship will be determined this weekend. If Hearts beat Rangers, I think Celtic and Rangers will cancel one another out, and Hearts will win the league.
That's exactly what it looks like, Sean. If Hearts beat Rangers, I'm not sure that's going to happen. I don't know about you.
I think a draw is a distinct possibility, and I actually think that does suit Celtic, a draw, because it means both have dropped points. Hearts are essentially, because as I say, the goal difference is in Hearts' favour. Celtic have scored 40 fewer goals at this exact stage last season.
Wow.
They've
got to be brave, Hearts.
Last season.
I thought when Hearts played Rangers, they've got to be brave, haven't they, Sean? They've got to be brave, Hearts. They've got to rise to the occasion.
Yes.
In the last game, I thought they got caught in the headlights a little bit against Rangers.
Yeah.
This time round, they've got to be bolder, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. Braveheart, that's one of your favourite
movies,
movies, isn't it?
No.
They did beat Rangers at Newcastle in the fixture earlier in the season, but I agree with you, Ibrox, Danny Rowe was in, the Rangers were playing a bit better. They beat 4-2, I think. They did get caught a wee bit.
Can you briefly give us a preview of the Miami Championship?
Out at the Blue Monster course over in Miami. First time the PGA back in that neck of the woods since about 2016 or so. 7 of the world's top 10 teeing it up, including Scottish Scheffler, who's predictably the favourite. He's currently about 16-5, so just over 3-1. The likes of Cam Young, Tommy Fleetwood there as well. But 2 points to put to you here, Danny, that we were all chatting about earlier in the MGM offices. First up, Alex Fitzpatrick is in the field, 100-1. He did indeed go and win the Zurich Classic last week with Matt. We spoke about that on here, of course, with you. Got a 2-year PGA Tour exemption, cancelled his flight to the Turkish Airlines Open and made his way to Miami instead, as you do. And the other thing is, have you clocked the Justin Rose news? Teeing it up this week, 33-1, but using new equipment after switching to McLaren, the F1 team.
I didn't know about the Rose switch. I've been fascinated to see that. Yeah. It does. I mean, to be honest, with his swing, I don't think it really matter what clubs he's using, but that'll be interesting. Just quickly though, I don't know if you watched the final round, the Fitzpatrick brothers at the weekend. Incredible it was, because they nearly threw it away. A lot of people saying, "Oh, it's a bit unfair." You know, he's playing with his brother who's number 3 in the world, which I think is nonsense. Because actually, in the final 9 holes, if you watch it, Matt Fitzpatrick lost his form. He actually topped a 3-wood. He hit a wedge over the green, and it was his brother who hit some unbelievable shots.
He came to the rescue, right?
Well, to a degree, yeah. And then people criticising the fact that the PGA are given 2-year exemptions on the PGA because they win that, which is...
who wins the Miami Championship?
I think it's time for Scotty. He's had a few seconds now. He's probably sick of that. I'd go Scotty.
Scotty, says Danny.
Just over 3-1. Yeah. On the Justin, I'm sorry, Jim, very quickly on the Justin Rose thing. Charlie pointed out he did switch equipment before years ago, and he ended up switching back pretty sharpish. I think he's been fully 2-year plan involved in this, so it's probably not the same. But he did switch before and it didn't work out. Majors all the next 3 months.
It's always problematic, isn't it? You ever switched equipment, Simon?
I'd like to switch who I work with.
What about Sheffield, the snooker boy? Incidentally, that's mutual. It said serial award winner Simon Jordan. Sheffield Snooker World Championship. It's a quarter-final stages, is it?
Yeah, we haven't really had a chance to touch on it, but it's been pretty brilliant watch so far. Judd Trump's out, Kyron Wilson's out, Mark Selby's out, Ronnie O'Sullivan's out. The latter, I don't know if you caught it, but that was after a superb comeback by John Higgins, 8-3 down, 1-13-12. A friend of mine's actually down there. Yeah. He was at that session, said it was one of the best he's ever seen live or on telly. Higgins is actually currently 5-3 down to Neil Robertson, but things generally pretty even between them in terms of head-to-heads over the past couple of years, so I can't imagine that's over. Defending champions Alson Tong 2-1 favourite in the betting, but I know it's very predictable for me, but Higgins, he's still top quality, getting to finals consistently. He's 9-1 to win his first world title since 2011 and his 5th world title overall, which I assume I speak for both of us anyway, Jim, when I say that'd be brilliant to see come Monday.
Oh, I knew you'd be very happy about Celtic fanatic John Higgins doing well. Well done, Sean. Thank you for that. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus, be gamble aware. .org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
I'll bet you are delighted that I'm a Celebrity's all over. You've got to be thrilled at that.
I thought I'd gone to the wrong show. I thought it was the Jeremy Kyle show. I've never seen so much aggravation. I thought I'm in the wrong studio here. All the crowd is shouting things. Oh, it was a nightmare.
Oh, I bet it was.
I thought, don't, I'm not a celebrity. Get me out of here. That's what I was going to say. It was David. David was, he was in good form. David Hay. But listen, Andy, we've been brought up in dressing rooms. You've been around football, you two guys, Andy. All your life, banter. This wasn't strong banter compared to what you've had in dressing rooms over the years. You just get on with it, didn't you?
Yeah.
It all got out of hand. People couldn't take a bit of banter and become a big issue.
Yeah, no, it's a shame because again, great personalities, great characters in there.
Yeah,
but it's been unbelievable what's been.
I was up in Scotland yesterday.
No way, where were you, mate?
I was at the Hibs Hearts game.
Oh, how did you enjoy it?
I loved it. What an atmosphere.
Hi.
The people.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How did you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
We are running up to 12 noon. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. Danny, top players, and Jack Grealish is a top player. Of that there is no doubt. Currently on loan at Everton. But what we do know about Jack is that he's had surgery on a foot stress fracture. Pictures have emerged of Jack falling asleep in a rooftop bar in Manchester. Drinks on the table in front of him. Not the best look, of course. If you're watching on YouTube at the moment, then you'll see what I'm talking about. Jack seems to be asleep, table in front of him. Somebody's taking pictures of him, crucially. So we'll get to that point in just a moment. It's not the first time that Jack's been caught up in off-field issues, if you can call this an off-field issue. Way back in March 2020, during the first COVID-19 lockdown, he was involved in an incident in Solihull, a car crash, 24 hours after urging fans to stay home on social media. He ended up pleading guilty to careless driving at the time. He was fined over £80,000. He was handed a 9-month driving ban after the incident. A year later, after a 7-0 win over Leeds, Pep Guardiola was said to be unhappy with the condition of both Foden and Grealish, turning up at a training session and not in the best of condition. After their treble win, we know that Jack Grealish was lionised by a certain section of the general public. He was on a bit of a drinking bender, but Pep seemed to be quite relaxed about it. If you fast forward to March 2025, he was spotted in Newcastle following an FA Cup win. He visited a social club in Washington near Newcastle on a Sunday. He was described as a total gentleman by locals. He posed for photographs, but then when he left the pub, he seemed somewhat unsteady on his feet. He looked a bit worse for wear. And Pep ultimately was asked about that and the sequence of events that led up to that.
They know what they have to do. So day off is day off, it's no training. They are a private life. They will do whatever they want. I'm not going to control what they do in the private life. So I judge what I have to see with the pitch, the training sessions, and the performance in the game. That's what I judge the players.
So, Danny, when you get back to this latest incident, and I stress that Jack's not playing at the moment, his season's over. He's had surgery on a foot stress fracture. So he's not playing. Should there be any concern at the moment? Should there be any outrage about these pictures appearing on social media?
I don't think it's ideal with the elevated position he holds when you're recovering from a big injury and you're a big-time player, that you're seen in these predicaments over and over again. In isolation, no problem. You know, every now and again someone lets their hair down, and unfortunately the way today's world is, you're going to get pictured or videoed or whatever it is. Yeah, I think there has to be a little bit of concern when you're a repeat offender. But my worry for him is more the people who's around him, because I had a similar thing. Obviously it was different than no social media, and I wasn't at Jack's level in terms of fame. But when I first went to Liverpool, I was doing the same things in the same places and getting into some problems and predicaments that I thought was normal or just dealt with. And then I moved away from that area, and also had people around me who would protect me. And if I got a bit leery or was getting a bit drunk, they'd take me out of that situation. And he doesn't seem to have those people around him, which is a concern for him long term. Who's around him letting him get that state? Because an hour before, you'd know he'd had a few. Just take him away. All right, you've had a night. We've had a good day out. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a little bit of concern from my experience. You have to, at some point, put yourself around people who protect you a bit more than he's been. Too often, Jack is in these situations. Now, the one thing I would say to him, to be fair, is when you watch Jack play, his strength and his physical condition is always good. He doesn't seem to struggle to last games when he plays. He always looks fit enough and strong enough and lean enough. So he's obviously doing some stuff right. And let's not forget, it was only a couple of years ago when he was playing nearly every game, helping Man City win a treble. So this ain't somebody who necessarily is struggling to get himself physically right when he's fit for playing football. He seems to have the balance okay. But from a public perception, or I don't know, long term I'm talking about, you know, who are the people around him who allow him to keep getting himself in this position?
Well, this is it. I think Danny makes a good point, Simon.
And that's entirely relevant. I mean, what Pep said is they can do what they want. I think the underlying sentiment is they should also be doing what they should be doing, not what they want to do. I think the problem for Jack Grealish is, if you look over the period of time now, obviously nearly 30, you probably actually, when you boil it down, can probably distill it down to the number of times he's been in a situation, to probably about 5 times over his entire career.
Yeah.
But because it was seeded in the media's mind very early that he's a party boy, that he's out and about. You saw images of him, but when he was a young player coming through Aston Villa, Tenerife, out, worse for wear. And that's then seeded now, so they look for it. There was a reason why Jack Grealish is no longer considered to be an elite footballer worthy of being at Man City and is on loan to Everton. And it must ultimately be because he hasn't performed at a certain level. And some of that may well be because he doesn't perhaps conduct himself in the way that an elite footballer should do. The drink culture in sport, you don't really see it replicated in too many other sports, but you do to some extent, but you predominantly see it amongst British athletes. You know, we saw the discussions about the drinking culture in English cricket. We saw the discussions about the inevitable drinking culture that exists upon rugby because it's seeded in a certain way of the players looking and feeling about certain circumstances. But I think it's ostensibly, I think it's British athletes. Our relationship with alcohol in this country is very different to, it seems to me, that other athletes around the world and in other parts of the world. I mean, if I'm the owner of a football club and a player's unfit, he is out of sight, out of mind to some extent. If I see those pictures, it reminds me that I'm paying him £200,000 a week for him to get fit. And I don't imagine that this kind of conduct helps him get fit. So whilst everyone's allowed to have time off and allowed to have a breather and allowed to release steam, he's got no steam to release. He's not playing. Whilst he's injured, I expect it's not the most happiest times of his. But on £15 million a year, you can surround yourself with security. We see these little twerps coming up at boxing matches dressed head to foot in Gucci and are marshalled left, right and everywhere. So you can get people around you to stop this sort of stuff going on. So when you've had a few drinks, get me out of here, get me away from here, get people away from me. Don't let pictures be taken of me.
Which is exactly what Dominic King in the Telegraph is saying, Simon. Why did none of his friends consider this? Someone always has a phone when Grealish is in town, and that usually means he's going to find himself in some degree of bother.
We're making judgments.
He's right about that, isn't he?
Well, I suspect you have to look at the people that are around him and wonder why they're there.
I mean, Dominic says a table full of colourful drinks in the foreground, whether they were his or not, did him no favours at all.
Well, I don't know what the attraction for Jack is to be laying half asleep inside a bar. There is a point. We all like to have a good time. We all like to push the envelope, and all of us have done it when we're younger and perhaps still do it. Yeah, absolutely. I did it myself. But there was an inherent awareness of how to behave. Sometimes when you get to positions where people live vicariously via you because of the finances, because of the recognisability and the so-called credibility, they no longer become your friends. They become your lick-spittles and your hangers-on, and sometimes they live as a result of you.
OK, Jack, let's look forward to as and when Jack Grealish returns to playing football, which he's very good at. It's 12 noon. Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. 03717 223344. Mohammed in Cardiff. Good morning. Where are you at with this then?
Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Simon.
Morning.
Well, congratulations for your winning your award.
Thanks, mate.
But I think this is just another retirement paycheck for both of these fighters. 5 years ago, this fight would have been amazing. Both of them were in their prime. Both of them were world champions. It probably would have been a biggest fight in British boxing history. But now, Fury, you've seen a decline in his last fight. AJ hasn't been the same for a while. And it looks like it's just another big retirement paycheck for the both of them.
Yeah, but Mohammed, you'll watch it, right? You won't miss it.
No, I don't think I watch it, if I'm honest. Like, there's a fight on Saturday, Benavidez versus Ramirez. That's a proper fight, yeah. You see, that's a proper fight. Wardley and Dubois is another fight. That's right. You know what I mean? There's jeopardy behind it. But this fight is just like Eubank and Ben. It's just another cop-out. Obviously, these two guys have achieved more than Ben and Eubank, but it looks like 5 years ago would have been great, but now I don't think I'd be wasting my time on watching, if I'm honest.
Interesting. Mohammed, listen, thanks for that. Arsenal fan, boxing fan, Keith, we know you. Keith, good morning. You having this fight?
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Good afternoon, I'm Max Scott here with your sports headlines. Danny Murphy thinks we've just seen probably the best two teams in the world right now.
The counter-attacks and playing through the press was of such a high level.
Yeah.
So people have jumped on this, it's all the forward players. Some of the playing out from the centre-halves, from the full-backs, the midfield boys getting on it in tight spaces, playing it round corners. Honestly, it was unbelievable.
Following PSG 5, Bayern 4, Luis Enrique thinks PSG need 3 goals in Munich to win the tie. European football expert and PSG fan Julien Laurence thinks we'll see Harry Kane in the final.
Even yesterday, even at 5-2 down, they never looked out of it. They're just so good.
Yeah.
Even if they can be exposed defensively, I think they're great. So I would go, unfortunately, for Bayern's slight favourite.
Remember, tonight, Atletico Madrid versus Arsenal is live on talkSPORT from 7. Now, we understand Man United are willing to sell Manuel Ugarte for half of what they paid for him. The first signing of the Ineos era could go for 25 million this summer. After 314 games and 20 trophies at Chelsea, former England captain and Euros winner Millie Bright is retiring at 32.
I can't get my words out. I think in life we have to make decisions, and I think in football we're always given answers. Like, we're always told where to be, what to eat, what time to come to training, and I think I'm at a stage where I'm ready to take control of my life.
Right, we'll stay on at Chelsea as an ambassador. George North says he's lived out a childhood dream as he retires from rugby union. North played 121 times for Wales and on 2 Lions tours. And in Formula 1, Silverstone's offered to host any races cancelled because of war in the Middle East. Bahrain and Saudi Arabia are off. Qatar and Abu Dhabi are still in the calendar. Get more on the website at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Donald Trump's told Iran there'll be no more Mr. Nice Guy, and Starmer prepares to face MPs after avoiding an inquiry into whether he misled the Commons over Mandelson claims. Sinead's got more on that in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. You can't trust the weather right now, but you can always trust Pirelli tyres. In stock now at your local centre. Visit quickfit.com and book today.
A warm and sunny day for most of us. A few showers through the English Channel. Windy in the south, chilly along eastern coasts.
Good afternoon, everybody. 5 minutes past 12 noon this Wednesday lunchtime. It's Jim White, it is Simon Jordan, and it's Danny Murphy, who both have just come back into the studio after leaving hand in hand for a little break together, which they always do around 12 noon on a Wednesday, but that's fine by me.
Hey, Jim, I'm a double award winner. Come on.
You are a double award winner indeed. And when Danny is asked, as he often is, to go back to school to speak to some of the pupils at his former school, he speaks about what it was like to play for a top European club, a top club in world football, Liverpool, of course. Simon can't go back to his school to speak to pupils there because he was expelled. But let me tell you, in the world of cricket, Warwickshire all-rounder and World Cup and Ashes winner with England, Chris Wokes, is back at school this lunchtime in Walsall and joins us live. Chris, good afternoon to you. Why are you back at school, my friend?
Yeah, back at my old school today to see some familiar faces, which is nice. But the whole reason is the start of a new cricket competition for state schools. It's the Barclays Knight Stokes Cup. And with the final being held at Lords in September, which is an amazing thing for schools to get involved with, and hopefully get some kids the opportunity to play cricket, which at state schools hasn't always been the case in the past. So yeah, a great idea, and hopefully it goes really well.
It's funny you say that, actually, because I never got the opportunity to play cricket at school. I don't really.
You're at a state school, obviously.
Yeah. And
Borstal, more like.
Yeah, Borstal. Yeah. Do you think that is a problem still, or is it getting? Well, obviously, it's getting better, but is it still something that can be improved on?
I think you make a really good point, Danny, because the stats prove it, do they not, Chris? That young people in private schools are 2.5 times more likely to play cricket in school hours than those in state schools. So they have got a better chance of playing cricket at a very decent level ahead of the state school kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it doesn't mean that in the professional game there isn't boys and girls that have gone on to play professional cricket. But as you said, I think just the access to the sport has always been limited in state schools in particular. And, the guys and the girls that come through that sort of system are usually through club cricket and then into the county system. Whereas, the idea of this competition, funded by Barclays and the MCC Foundation, it gives hopefully children an opportunity just to access the sport. And, you know, this might not necessarily mean that we're going to find the next Heather Knight or Ben Stokes and it's a silver bullet, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity to get kids playing the game, you know, exercising. It's a summer sport, get them outside. And hopefully, you know, in the future, it creates a bigger pool for the professional game.
Sure. I mean, without labouring the point, Chris, it's said you're 13 times more likely to be a pro cricketer if you attended a private school. So the stats are there, and they do prove it. Do you? I'm going to put this to you, Chris, because I feel we can. Do you still think cricket has a class problem?
Well, I mean, I hope not. It's certainly got better. 1,000% it's got better. You know, I look back to when I played the game. I think I played one game of cricket at school. You know, obviously I went to a state school, you know, the school I'm at today, Barbican, and, you know, I think obviously things have moved forward, but cricket has always had an issue with the access to the sport. You know, it's not exactly a cheap sport. You know, you need the facilities. You know, I think that's always been an issue. I think it's been put off by, you know, parents look at it as an expensive sport to get into, and we just need to break down that barrier. And this is a great opportunity to get school kids, you know, playing it. And I think there is a bit of work being done between state schools and the independent schools actually working together on this to be able to borrow access to facilities, get access to kit, and get boys and girls just playing the sport, which will hopefully in time mean that we get more kids from state schools playing the game.
It was interesting, Simon. I think Eddie Jones made a similar observation about rugby, didn't he?
No, he talked about the character of the players competing in rugby, and they came from a private school system. I went to a state school. I played cricket. I think that one of the aspects of cricket that does deter people is the expensive nature of the equipment. Schools have very limited budgets in these days and age. You're seeing all the school bloody playing fields being sold up left, right and centre by local councils to try and fund the gaps in their desire to fill potholes in the road or whatever it is that has to be done. So it's always been an underlying situation. You play football, you get a pair of boots, off you go. You play cricket, you've got to have pads, you've got to have bat, you've got to have gloves.
Sure.
Sometimes you've even at a certain age, 15s or 16s, you've got to have helmets. So it's the reality of it. It's a fabulous sport. It's a brilliant sport. And the tragedy is that those are the barriers to entry, not the same class situation. I don't know if Chris agrees or disagrees with me, that maybe Eddie Jones was referring to in rugby.
Yeah, I mean, to a large extent, Chris, coming from the state school background that you come from, and we'll move on in a second, but you made it into the elite end of cricket. So to a certain degree, do you feel you bucked the trend yourself?
Slightly maybe, but I wasn't the only one. You know what I mean? There has been many others that have gone on to play for England. You know, I look at that 2019 World Cup winning squad. There's probably about half and half. So, you know, it's certainly, you know, that certainly booked the trend a little bit. But I think I was very fortunate that the cricket club sort of pathway and opportunities playing at club level were really good. And I had, you know, a lot of great coaches, both, you know, volunteers, and once I got into the Warwickshire system, that really helped me along. But, you know, not everyone gets that opportunity. And, you know, what hopefully this competition allows is actually seeing some kids that have got real talent get the opportunity to go on and play for counties rather than actually probably slipping through the net and missing those opportunities. So, you know, I certainly wasn't the only one, but it was nice to see hopefully more state school kids playing the game and getting that opportunity to go through the pathways at county cricket level.
Sure. I think it was last September, wasn't it? You made your decision to retire from international cricket. You comfortable that you made that decision, or you must miss it, surely?
Well, I think you'll always miss it. I'm sure Danny would agree with that. You know, even, you know, having been retired a little while, but, you know, you have to come to terms with it at some point. I feel content with the decision. I'm still playing, you know, for Warwickshire, so it still feels like I've got a little bit to give. But of course, you want to compete at the highest level for your whole life if you could do it, you know. But at the same time, the body gives up, and also that sort of mental drain that it takes on you eventually kicks in. So nice to you know, watch as a fan and look on and not be looking over my shoulder at the youngsters trying to knock you off your perch. So I'm quite happy and content with it, Jim, to be honest.
Good man. Chris, I tell you though, without being too negative about it, as a fan now, it could have been too enjoyable for you watching the Ashes, was it? A 4-1 defeat.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. There was part of me, you know, as I said, I was content with my decision, and then the Ashes crept up on us, and I was desperate to be there again. But it didn't go to plan, did it? It wasn't a great winter for the lads. But, you know, at the end of the day, professional sports soon moves on, and, you know, we've got a big summer coming up, and there's a few decisions to make, isn't there? Do people keep their place, or do you kind of, obviously they've kept the majority of the management. So obviously, you know, it looks now at the players as to got to, you know, I suppose put that right. What happened in the winter, and, you know, probably put that behind them. But some big decisions to be made. Some good players putting in some good performances in county cricket at the minute. Trying to put the hand up to get a nod for the start of the summer.
Are you surprised that there were big decisions being made, and there was a review of it all, but Brendan McCullum, the captain, Ben Stokes retained their positions, and in so doing, there was a rejection, if you like, for call for change.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this to you guys before. I said I was surprised that they kept the roles, because more the fact that at the end of an Ashes series that goes like that, usually heads do roll. So it was surprising that they kept the roles, but I was quite pleased, because the team's done well over the last few years. It's moved in the right direction. We were a pretty poor team before they took over. Made some good strides, and I don't always feel like ripping the script up is the way forward. McCullum and Stokes have done some great things. The Ashes series wasn't great, obviously, but I feel like they are the guys to take the team forward. There needs to probably be a few changes in personnel, but it didn't feel like those two were the ones to make the move and move on. So hopefully they can, you know, put a few things right, change a few roles within the team, and move the team forward as I would like to see.
I'm not going to dwell on this, Chris, but a lot was made that there was, to a degree, a drinking culture in that group. You know the guys involved. Do you recognise it?
Yeah, I don't think there's a drinking culture within the game. Cricket is very different to football. And even rugby to a certain extent. The game has got a hell of a lot more professional in the time that I've played over the last 20 years. But do guys still have a drink? Yeah, they do. But the sport is completely different to, you know, playing 90 minutes of football on a Wednesday night or a Saturday afternoon. You play a lot of test matches is a long week. You have 2 or 3 days prep leading into it. You then have a 5-day grueling test match, which you start at 11, finish at 6:30. And you guys need a vice of some sort, and occasionally a beer here or there is not a problem. I think, you know, naturally you don't expect professional sportsmen to be out getting absolutely hoovered. I think that is something that no one expects, but a drink here or there is not a problem. So I don't agree with the drinking culture as such, but the sport is seen very different to football and to rugby, say, for instance.
Yeah. Mr. Wokes, before you leave us, 3 words to you. Up the Villa.
Oh, good man.
Oh, what? I mean, an all-English Europa League semi-final against Forest. What are you thinking, Chris?
I'm a little nervous about this fixture, actually, on Thursday night. Not an easy place to go, is it? The City Ground. It will be a big occasion. Obviously, Forest fan, a little bit of form at the wrong time for me. But, I think, on paper, we're the better team. But obviously, a semi-final of Europa League is a big occasion. Hopefully, we can just get away with a decent result at the City Ground and get back to Villa Park and get the job done.
Chris, well done. Well done for going back to school in Walsall today. Good man. Thanks for joining us.
No worries.
Chris Wokes with us there, Warwickshire all-rounder, World Cup Ashes winner with England, and Aston Villa supporter, no less. 12:15. So they won, Martin, and well done Arsenal for doing so. But with 4 games to go, can Arsenal unshackle themselves? Do they need to?
Well, look, to be honest, the situation Arsenal are in is normal. It's never easy to be a team that doesn't win it after successive years. 22 years for Arsenal, 26 years, wasn't it, for Manchester United, 44 years for Man City. You know, we can still hear Aguero in the commentary because what it meant and the day they tripped up there against Queen's Park Rangers. So these nerves are there. It's natural. I just thought that the weekend, Eze, how he handled those nerves, I think he's an example to everybody in the team, how he's loving the situation. I was stunned by the naivety of Newcastle, not recognising that, okay, we're all marking in the box, but that's not the play we need to pick up. And there was 2 early corners that was assigned to that, and his finish was magnificent.
But that's strange, isn't it? Eze, the one player who's never been involved in a title run-in, in a title race, is the standout.
Yes, but you think about his progression in the game, 27 years of age. Arsenal didn't want him, rejected him. His route to this level, he's enjoying the moment, embracing it, and that has to be the attitude. I think if I contrast that with Zupimendi, he's played a lot of games. It's a difficult moment for him, but then these are the players you support. The result does the trick. It gives you that tonic. It makes you think you can keep going. You know, we've sat here now so many times. For me, it's been like climbing Mount Everest here. We have 4 games to go where Arsenal are top of the...
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Maybe it's because the World Cup is on the horizon at the end of this domestic season in the USA that we seem to talk about FIFA an awful lot. But I tell you what, with Simon and Danny in the studio this lunchtime, let's talk about FIFA. It's understood FIFA asked for its president, Gianni Infantino, to be given a full motorcade escort for their annual Congress in Vancouver this very week. Arrangements usually reserved for the Pope or the US president. FIFA requested a level 4 escort, which has the ability to go through red traffic lights and block off other road users. Now, this is only one level below the arrangements reserved for the Pope, the same level used for visits for US presidents and higher than used for Canada's own president, or Prime Minister, I should say, Mark Carney. What did Vancouver police say to FIFA? You're all right, you won't be getting that. And they refused FIFA's request, which would have had significant cost implications for city taxpayers. Simon, to even ask for this, what does it make FIFA look like? What does it make Infantino look like? Do they honestly believe that Infantino is bigger than the Pope?
Well, it's a nice association, but it is no different to what we saw in Qatar. So ask yourself, when we drove through Qatar and we saw precisely the same thing, roads being blocked off, traffic lights being stopped, motorcades being allowed to go through with all the FIFA officials, where that emanated from. It might have been because of the sycophantic nature of the Qataris and the way they were behaving towards FIFA at the time.
No, I was in Rio. It was exactly the same.
So okay. So they've been allowed to do this as a result. So they're just replicating what they've been done before. So why they think they're entitled to it, what is the purpose of it, why they would need to have a situation where people travelling to some degree, with a degree of being incognito, because no one's really interested in FIFA executives.
Nobody even knows who they are.
Nobody knows who they are.
No.
So it's been seeded in their entitlement. Perhaps it becomes the nature of this situation, of how much revenue this is worth to everybody. Infantino is a kingmaker in certain respects, as well as a recipient of enormous financial opportunities for both the hosting city and, of course, the World Cup itself. So perhaps they've got drunk on their own importance. And perhaps back in the day, someone along the line has said to FIFA, you can have these sort of privileges. They've jumped upon it. They now expect it as part of their roster. And I remember seeing it, you've just said it in Rio, but I remember seeing it in Qatar, us waiting at traffic lights when all of these cars are being stopped four-way stops to let this motorcade of cars come through, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, but those were, Rio and Qatar were World Cup finals. This is the FIFA annual Congress in Vancouver we're talking about.
but that's the natural progression in life. People get associated with one set of experiences and they expect to get it everywhere they go. You see it in every walk of life. You see it in the entitlement of pop stars or footballers or people in the public domain that suddenly get used to a particular set of treatment and expect it in every single circumstance.
Yeah.
So now they've gotten into a circumstance where they think they're entitled to do it, and fair play to the Canadians. You know, probably if Justin Trudeau would have been there, they'd probably been waving them in with a nice little, wouldn't have get the truckers to escort them in, would he? But notwithstanding that, they would have been waving them in, but they've said no. FIFA have been allowed to develop this sense of entitlement, and we can rage about it or say how ridiculous it is, but it's been engaged with, and you're saying it's been extended to a conference. It'd be fascinating to actually dig beneath the headline and say, just out of curiosity, why is it that you need to have this? And if you do need to have it, would you be prepared to pay for it? Because you guys are the ones that are generating all the revenue from this World Cup. Yeah. And if you want these sort of privileges, in the same way that Prince Harry wants to come over and get royal security for his experiences, and some people might say that's right or wrong, if you want that kind of privilege, you should pay for it. In the same way that New Jersey's Transit have turned around to FIFA and said, we're going to put the prices up on the travel because it's going to cost us $48 million to travel fans back and forward. You want to come into a town, you want these privileges, and it's a nice little conflation to turn around what the Pope doesn't get, and whoever else doesn't get these sort of things. You want it, pay for it.
Would it be similar to the special treatment and appointments you got at the American Embassy?
No. Well,
that's right. Yeah, when you're jumping the queue to get your visa. But I mean, it is significant, Danny, is it not, that what we're looking at here, this is a bit of a window, and it's a striking one, into the sense of entitlement that FIFA has.
Oh, I've seen it firsthand at all the tournaments. I've been very fortunate to go to all the tournaments. It's unbelievable. It's like royal families everywhere. You know, the amount of privilege they get for what they bring.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking entourages as well. Big load of cars going through, hotels, they have it all to themselves. I mean, it's just...
But why? But why is it afforded?
Because they all think
why
they're
is
very
it indulged?
people.
Yeah. Well, okay, but you only get allowed...
It's indulged because they're greasing palms.
That might be part of the discussion. Ultimately, there's so much benefit and courtesy being extended, but Canadians don't feel that way.
No,
they don't feel predisposed. So go look back at the other sycophantic regimes that allowed this to go on. Be interesting to see if we ever are allowed to have a World Cup in this country again. By the way, which is an absolute disgrace that we haven't had one since 1966. If we would be the same, if we would facilitate the same outcome.
Well, you've got Euros coming up,
that's not FIFA, it's UEFA.
It's a level down, obviously, it's UEFA.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, and the point you make is a good one, Simon, the absolute cheek of FIFA to expect Vancouver City's taxpayers to pay for it.
But you don't get. They've been if you breed a sense of entitlement. Come on. If you breed a sense of entitlement into people, they will continue to have that entitlement. Unless you nip it in the bud and say, I don't think so, this is not part of it. They've probably been led to believe, as part of the opportunity that they feel they're giving to the North American World Cup, and obviously in South America with Mexico involved in it as well, that this is a de rigueur. It's given.
Yeah.
So here we are, we're turning up. Thank you very much. You're lucky to have us.
What was the word?
Yeah.
De rigueur.
It's quite remarkable, though, Danny, where we're getting to with FIFA. Because over the weekend, FIFA's resale site listed 4 tickets for the World Cup final at £1.7 million each. Now, this is no joke. The seats at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey were being offered behind a goal in the lower deck, block 124, row 45, and there were seats 33 to 36, priced at $2.3 million US, $1.7 million each.
Well, now, I mean, that's just, I don't know if they'll ever get that. I mean, come on.
FIFA takes a 15% purchase fee from the buyer of each ticket and a 15% resale fee from the seller.
You'd have to be unwell to pay that. I don't care how much money you've got.
But people will pay it, won't they?
You think?
I mean, always thought the best tickets in a World Cup final were on the halfway line.
Well, the fact is, FIFA doesn't control the asking prices, but there is no cap. So, in other words, whoever this individual was thought, I'll try one on here, and has done.
That's the same as everything, isn't it? I mean, that's capitalism in one sentence. I mean, if Oasis tickets were, I was looking at them at one point.
Yeah, but Danny, why wouldn't FIFA put a cap on their own resale site, as they should do? Surely. This is evidence that it's got hysterically out of control.
And if someone's prepared to pay it, that will be the justification behind it. I mean, those sort of seats, what our argument should be, let's not take the extremes. Let's look at the real marketplace where the mass audience can compete in. Where, with this 7 million tickets for this World Cup, there's 9 billion people on the planet. 0.001% of the population can actually go to a World Cup game, because really and truly there'll be 4 or 5 million people that are repeated because they're going to watch their team in numerous experiences. So there's only actually 4 or 5 million individuals that can actually go to World Cup games. So it's a very small percentage. What we should be focusing on is not the extreme end of the conversation, but is in the middle part where the audience is being excluded by the middle part of the pricing structure. The extreme end that people want to, these elite people that want to pay $2 million to sit in a stadium to watch a World Cup, fantastic, good luck to you. You've got the kind of money to do that.
But why? But the question should be, why are they available at that price? If there was a sensible cap,
because market forces dictate. Why? Okay, why is it that we can pay £200 for a plane flight in February? That when you go in March on a holiday, when your family are off on holiday from school, you've got to pay £700 for the same plane flight from the same airline. This is the nature of the beast. It might not be right, but it's the world that we live in. Now, on top of that, what happens to the money? Does it go into situations surrounding the lauding and applauding of fat cats sitting in FIFA's boardrooms, or does it go to the grassroots of sport?
Well, FIFA are going to take a 15% purchase fee from the buyer of each ticket.
Yeah, okay.
And a 15% resale fee.
300 grand will make a lot
But here's
of
the bottom line. When, in anyone's course of life, should a ticket for a football match anywhere on the planet come in at £1.7 million each?
I tell you when someone's prepared to pay it.
But it is crazy, isn't it, mate?
Of course it's crazy.
I mean, be honest with me.
Of course it's crazy.
This is insane.
But, Jim, the world's crazy.
It's disgusting.
People pay astronomical amounts of money for someone's bleeding football shirt. It's the world's crazy for what they do and don't pay in certain circumstances. And this is just another example. What we're doing is we're loading our guns on capitalist World Cup and the World Cup in America. That's what we're doing. That's our narrative. That's where we're going to be going after. Either what's happening in America with ICE or what's happening with the currency of capitalism that's being deployed. All we do is talk about ticket prices.
Yeah, because this is an insane.
I think what you're saying is this.
But where's, again, if you can tell me honestly that all of this money that's being generated by the World Cup has no material benefit to the world's biggest game, then I'll argue with you and say, fair enough, you're right, absolutely right. I'll sit down and concede the point. But if it is not, and it's going towards opening up the other avenues around the world for a global food chain of better football...
What, we should almost be thanking FIFA?
No, I don't think we should be thanking anybody, but I think we should shut up and get on with our lot. And if we can't buy tickets, we can't buy tickets. Most people in the world can't buy tickets. There's only 7 million tickets available on a population of 9 billion.
Yeah.
So most people can't go to the World Cup.
So the capitalist in you thinks there's nothing wrong with this, really?
I think the world's gone mad. I think what we're having to put up with in society is a disgrace. I think the pricing policies of supermarkets up to what we experience every single day in walks of life are a disgusting disgrace.
Yeah.
I think we're all part of a capitalist profiteering which has gone mad.
Yeah.
So why would football be any different? Why should we sit here watching footballers get paid 500 grand a week? Why should Mbappe, why should Cristiano Ronaldo be on 200 million pounds a year for a footballer?
Yeah.
Think about it and then pair it back to this.
Because
and say,
you owners pay it.
Because market forces dictate, because it's worth something to somebody else, because it achieves something somewhere else. Markets want to build on it, but Saudi want to build a football league out of it, and on it goes.
Yeah.
Broadcasters want to get more revenue. Lionel Messi gets signed to an American deal because Apple TV want to build a league, and on we go. And FIFA's job should be to try and keep it real and try and redeploy all of the money back to the grassroots of football. And if they don't do that, then that's what we should be whacking them with.
Motorcades, £1.7 million a ticket. It is out of this world, is it? It's not. It's utterly insane, is it not? I mean, you wonder what Infantino's bonus structure is as well.
Well, don't we know? Isn't it? I mean, don't we know that he's on some sort
It was 8 million in the last cycle.
Well, so we know then.
Crazy though.
But that's what people get. So when you're sitting on top of BP right now and everyone's paying enormous prices and BP are illustrating profits of 2.5 billion because oil's gone up, their guy will be on 10, 15 million. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right or wrong?
Yeah. It wasn't you that bought these, was it?
No.
You're going to say to Danny and me once we're out there.
When I'm at how many World Cup games do I go to?
1.7 million.
How many World Cup games do I go to when we can get them for free out there, you and I? Not many.
That's true. That's true. Mind you, they are lower deck. 12:30.
consequence, Lincoln City celebrated their title win this weekend. Decided this is the big moment to mock Spurs.
What? Oh my God! up the imps. Up the imps. Jay, Tottenham away, ole ole. That is shameless.
I don't know where to
Tottenham.
go.
Do you know that game now has been built up to something? Right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's been a thing because of you. Because of you.
There's nothing to do with me. I'm not.
No, it is. No, it's because of you. You made it a
I'm
thing.
not playing centre off Spurs.
It's just who we are, mate.
It's not my fault you're there.
Oh, it's a killer. Oh, it's a killer. Lincoln away next season.
Mate, don't knock the imps, mate. Up the imps.
Lincoln away.
Ole, ole.
It's a killer. It is.
Can you imagine Spurs start singing Lincoln away, ole, ole?
Well, you know what? We're going to have to. Maybe we're going to have to.
No, Jay, get out of it, mate.
Do you think we'll get out of it?
Jay, I've been saying all along you'll get out of it, right? You'll find a way. I cannot... Look, it's a straight shootout between you and West Ham. Up your hands. Straight shootout, mate.
Oh, I can't see it.
I
can't see it.
No, it is a straight shootout between you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but West Ham are decent.
Mate, they've been decent.
They've been all right.
Look, you picked up your first victory, right? Roberto De Spurzi.
At what cost?
After the world was treated to the mother of all first-leg thrillers last night, talkSPORT's Jason Cundy doesn't think any Arsenal player gets into either Bayern or PSG's team.
The levels of quality in that game was nothing short of extraordinary. And it just goes to, in my opinion, it just goes to show how dull the Premier League is. That has embarrassed, and it's knocked the Premier League into a cocked hat.
Vincent Kompany called PSG 5, Bayern Munich 4, a clash of similar ideas. Here's European football expert Julien Laurent.
And yeah, look at what Vincent is doing already. And I know it helps when you've got Olise and Diaz and Kane in this kind of form. I mean, Olise last night again, and we love Nuno Mendes, maybe the best left back in the world. But Olise made him look like an under-19.
Luis Enrique reckons PSG need 3 goals in Munich to win the tie. The second leg will be live on talkSPORT next Wednesday. Arsenal's turn tonight, though. Huge storms are forecast ahead of their game at Atletico Madrid, live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m. In the Championship, Kieran McKenna says Ipswich are in great shape to finish second. They came back to draw at informed Southampton. Tonda Eckhart's side are consigned to the playoffs. He spoke to talkSPORT's Ian Abrahams.
Is that something you're happy with?
I don't care.
You don't care that it might be a bit of extra pressure?
I'm happy with the pressure. It doesn't make a difference.
And if players confront an opponent while covering their mouths at the World Cup this summer, they will be sent off. FIFA's also bringing in red cards for any player who leaves the field in protest at a referee's decision. There's more at talksport.com.
Wednesday lunchtime. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, it's Danny Murphy. We're live in talkSPORT, live in your TV as well, even Prime Video. Wherever you want to watch the show, you can watch it. It's going to be a nice afternoon in this part of the world. Hope it's good wherever you're listening all around the UK and beyond. It's been a great week for one Bo Greaves, who's made history as the first woman to win a PDC ranking title. Let me tell you more about this. Bo has made darts history this week. She became the first woman. By doing this, she beat Rob Cross, Gary Anderson and Michael Smith. Bo is 22. She beat 3 former world champions at the Players' Championship in Milton Keynes. I mean, how about that? As far as the match against Smith was concerned, it was a nail-biter. 8-7 victory over Smith in the final with a stunning 1-4-2 checkout. I'm delighted to say that Bo joins us live this lunchtime. Bo, good afternoon. I take it you're mightily pleased with yourself.
Yeah, obviously, absolutely over the moon. Yeah, just to win, to beat them players and win my first ranking is absolutely special, and obviously, yeah, amazing achievement for me.
Well done. I mean, is this the biggest indicator yet, Bo, that you're a true threat to those at the very top of the game?
Well, yeah, I've had some good moments, some bad, but that was yeah, just obviously the best thing I've won in the PDC to date. So yeah, and just obviously it's tough on the men's tour, but yeah, I'm doing really well, and obviously I didn't expect to win my first one so quick, but yeah, it's absolutely amazing and proper chuffed.
How about that, Danny? It's not bad. I mean, all names that are instantly recognisable. Rob Cross, Gary Anderson, Michael Smith, and Bo dispatched the three of them.
Yeah, I mean, I watch a lot of darts. She's doing amazingly well and got the capability of competing with all of them. Is it more of just a confidence thing, Bo, where you kind of just growing in confidence? The more success you have, the more tournaments you play. Is that kind of where you're at? You know you've got the ability, but it's just that confidence.
Yeah, probably. I've never been the most confident person, but I've always been confident in my ability. I know I've got the game to do it. I just, yeah, it's just, I just take maybe a little bit. I don't know. I like to play and play well. That gives me confidence. But yeah, I wouldn't sit and say I'm this and that. But I try and do my best and enjoy every game I play. And I think maybe I would benefit from having a lot more confidence actually. But I still do well, and that's just how I've always been.
I like this, Simon. I like this story. Both standing up to some of the best in darts.
Of course, I mean, I love darts. And I mean, Bo, is it something that you're going to be, I mean, do you want to be the poster girl of anything, or do you just want to be a very good darts player that beats other darts players irrespective of their sex?
Yeah, I don't mind. You know, I think me and Fallon are obviously different in a lot of ways, but I would obviously I like to think about some of the younger girls coming through, and obviously there's a lot of young lads coming through, but not as many girls. So I always obviously want to do well for myself, but it's also about obviously other people coming through, and I get a lot of support that way. And yeah, if me playing darts can inspire other people to get into it a bit more, that'd be fantastic.
I mean, I grew up watching darts when it was Eric Bristow and John Lowe and Jockey Wilson and all those sort of people, Cliff Lazarenko and whatever else. Is there a material reason physically why women darts players should be in any way disadvantaged playing against males?
No, not really. Obviously, there's different opinions on it, isn't there? Yeah. But I don't know. It's a tough one because I've always said that they're not good enough, and I have said that in interviews. But it was a couple of years ago. But at the time, I did believe that, but I seem to somehow keep proving myself wrong everything I said. So, but there is a big gap. I think it's not. There is a massive gap with.
But is there a physical reason, Bo? Because
no, I wouldn't say there's a physical one, but I think it's
numbers.
Yeah, it's all the. You know, I don't know. I just look at stats and think there is a gap, and that's probably where it probably will stay for a long time. But like I say, you do get the odd someone like Littler came along and smashed everyone, and in the men's game, and I kind of did that with the ladies' game. But someone always comes along in a generation, don't they? But I think that's there is still a gap, but. You know, it is what it is.
But obviously, I guess the more women that play, the more there's going to be competition. By you playing more and more in the men's game and having to score heavily and having to keep a level of attainment to be able to keep up in a certain level is going to raise your game, and then people coming alongside you will raise their game, and it won't then become the divide. If you can get more and more women playing it, then it'll be less of a conversation, won't it?
Yeah, hopefully. I think that is the goal. I think... Yeah, obviously that gap in standard hopefully will close, but it does take. We need a lot more entries, and the standard does need to be better. But you know, it's not as if they don't try or they don't try hard. It's just darts. Some you know, it's just how the game is, and I suppose I think a few years ago I wasn't I was good, but I'm not as good as I was now. But I started playing against a lot more young lads, and then I played against obviously men, and now the professional men, and it seems to improve my game. So maybe if some ladies can get on the tour like me, we might see a bit more like a pathway through that maybe.
I wonder, well, what's the, for girls wanting to get into the sport, what's the biggest barrier of entry to get in there and compete at the level that you have ended up competing at?
Yeah, it's just the fact that I think there's just so many young lads playing on the tours, on the PDC tours. There'll be 480 lads and maybe 3 girls.
Yeah.
And there's just a massive, whether they might not think that they're good enough, or maybe they don't want to, if they don't believe in themselves, they don't maybe want to spend the money to go and do it. And it's, and which I do understand, because I used to think like that, but obviously I've gone through the PDC systems and just done my best to try and get up to that level. But it is tough, and to play it like it consistently is obviously something I've always struggled with. But
yeah. I mean, these are 3 great scalps: Cross, Anderson, and Smith. I mean, could you beat Littler?
Well, yeah, I did.
You have beaten him.
Yeah, I have beaten him. Yeah, in that was last year. I beat him on the PDC thing. But I have great games with him and stuff. I think I always say I think I play a lot better against the better players. I think they kind of like bring your game on and stuff. So sometimes when I'm playing in the competitions, I don't mind drawing the top seeds and stuff, because you might as well just, you don't got no to lose at that point. So maybe it's just the different mindset and stuff that I had that day. I don't know, but yeah. It's just brilliant.
Bo, it's been great speaking to you. Well done for the victories you've had.
Amazing.
Just before you leave us, what is your ultimate aim? What would be the ultimate achievement? I think I know what you're going to say, but tell us.
Well, now that I've won that title, I'll probably start believing a bit more. But I'd love to just get on telly and have a brilliant run like I did, and you never know. I think I've got a long way to go, and I've got to work really hard for it. But maybe now that I've won that, maybe I can win something on the telly or something a lot bigger. But I don't know. I've always enjoyed what I do, and I'll continue to enjoy it regardless if I don't go on to win out on the telly or do anything else. But
you will. Premier League.
Yeah, come on,
Premier
Bo.
League.
But what I'm interested to find out before you leave us, Bo, is what's the reaction of men, both male spectators and the men you beat? Are they okay? With us.
Yeah, sorry. To be honest, when I went in the next day, all the men were absolutely lovely to me. They always say, I think it's because I've been around a while, so they kind of knew me from when I was younger and stuff. So,
brilliant.
But yeah, they're absolutely lovely. I can't I got so much support. It was great. So, and a lot of them are men. So yeah, it's just got no qualms that way.
We'll keep it going. We'll follow your progress with interest. Have you in here in the studio? We've got a darts board over there. You can thump Simon, which would give me great amusement. Bo Greaves, thank you so much for making history, and thank you very much for joining us this lunchtime live in the show. Just gone to 1:45 this Wednesday lunchtime. But surely with players, Martin, conning referees with fake injuries and hence pausing games, there is a culture of distrust that's been sown by the very players.
Yeah, and with the goalies particularly, we saw that in the FA Cup yesterday. You know, caused a mini riot with Leeds players going berserk when the Chelsea keeper goes down. So I just think they got it right, and I think Glasner's right. I don't want to be just seeing the game stop there because somebody's got an injury. You know, he got up, he tried to get to his feet. We could see that there was an issue, but it was in the same action. I don't think you can stop it for that.
Even if it's a goal, is there a difference here in that it's a goalkeeper?
But what does the rules say? These guys make the rules up as they go along. They've made the rules up as they go along, and they now think that the rules that they've made up are the ones that everyone's got to abide by. The fact is that players have somehow managed to coerce referees into believing that every time someone falls over and hurts themselves, that the game's got to be stopped. And there's this unwritten law on the field that's established by the players that if someone gets injured and they determine the game should be stopped, it should be stopped. That's not how it works. The referee referees the game. And there's no rule that says if a goalkeeper gets injured, that subsequently he's subject to a different set of circumstances than somebody else.
No.
The only rule that's, as far as I'm aware, and I'm happy to be corrected, is if it's a head injury.
Usually win a goal.
So the players have made this is what happens when you allow the lunatics to run the asylum. They've made up a set of rules that they think are now the governance of the game, and so they now think that when it doesn't go towards their governance, their version of the governance, that somehow they've been slighted. He didn't have a head injury. If a player gets injured, you don't stop the game because a player gets injured. The only time you stop a game is if a player...
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Thanks to Boo Greaves for joining us live in the show. A number of women are saying to us out there, female darts players at Boo is certainly a trailblazer, and who are we to disagree with that? Well done to her for taking the scalps of three big name men darts players in the world of that sport.
Three brilliant darts players.
Brilliant darts players, aren't they? We're live in, so is Bo, as you said, Danny. You saw the other night playing. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco. It's where the trade goes. I want to finish on the subject of FIFA, not on Infantino's failed attempt to get the motorcade in Vancouver. The latest FIFA Council meeting has thrown up some very interesting proposals. I'll bounce them off Danny and Simon as we head towards 1 o'clock. I wonder how many of these proposals we would like to stick in the game. Should clubs be forced to field homegrown talent? The FIFA Council, Danny, unanimously approved a consultation process with all relevant stakeholders that would see all senior clubs obliged to always field at least one homegrown player in matches, Premier League matches, Championship match, whatever level. You've got to field at least one homegrown player. How often is it we see, maybe I don't want to pick on Chelsea, but Chelsea, for example, no English players in there. If Cole Palmer's not playing or whatever, I'm throwing in a few clubs off the top of my head here. Some of them have fielded teams with no homegrown players. Is this the way ahead? You would have to field at least one.
I don't agree now. I think it favours the clubs with more money and better academies. We've got some really talented young ones. Not even, or don't even think all the clubs in the Premier category A. You know, so you're favouring the clubs with more players, the better younger players, and no, I don't like it.
I mean, basically, should rules dictate who you start a match, Simon?
Well, there's something about it that I quite like, but I take Danny's point. I mean, obviously, one of the great advantages of the lesser than clubs is that players can see a pathway into the first team. And so that gives them an advantage when they're talking about taking players at a younger age into their academies and where the opportunity is going to exist.
Yeah.
They might find a pathway into the first team. And so what it's trying to achieve is more homegrown talent. And there's always an argument for that. And of course, football club owners will view it in a certain way, because if you can develop homegrown talent, although the irony of it is the most expensive talent is often British talent.
Yeah,
it becomes premium. So, is it broken? Are we needing to fix things? Are we sophisticating things? Who's it working for? The one thing I dislike is if it was something that we were adopting as a policy in this country. We were adopting that policy once upon a time, that we had to have a certain percentage of homegrowns.
Yeah.
And everyone else around the bleeding globe was not doing anything of the sort.
That's right. We were struggling.
And we were
Yeah.
struggling.
Yeah.
So if it's a standard fit for the entire football pyramid around the world, then I'm not adverse to it. But Danny has a point, which is that the best academies will produce the best players. But by the same token, you've still got that golden nugget inside the mentality of lesser clubs by saying to players when they sign for their academy, you're going to get up halfway to the first team quicker than you will when you're playing for Chelsea or Man City.
But if you want an improvement in the academy system, for example, the academy systems generally are very good now. The facilities, the coaching, everything is as good as it's ever been. So clubs are producing young talent. They're just not always producing young talent that's going to go in their team.
Yeah.
The academy system is actually very good. It's producing a lot of good players that then go on to be professionals elsewhere. So it's not like the academy system needs a huge improvement.
Yeah.
Because the money's gone into the academies now. The facilities are incredible. Players are getting the best education on and off the pitch that they've ever had.
Sure.
So actually, what's the point of it?
What's it fixing?
Yeah. This needs fixing. And there was an example of it as recently as the weekend at Wembley. You remember you remember the moment, and you know where I'm going with this, Danny. Chelsea Leeds United. The keeper, Robert Sanchez, he goes down mortally wounded. The referee paused play for treatment. All of Chelsea's outfield players went to the technical area for a tactical chat. Leeds' Ethan Ampadu tried to place himself inside the Chelsea team talk. That caused a melee. But here's the thing. They can find no agreement over how to combat the goalkeeper tactical timeout. What did he do about this? Because it incenses fans of the other side.
Well, Chelsea...
There's nothing wrong with him. He's lying in the pitch for no reason.
I saw it happen. One of the defenders went up to him and told him to do it, and then he did it. The irony is, in that game in particular, it was a massive help to Chelsea because Leeds were having their best spell and they were constantly on them.
Yeah.
And whatever he said to them, fair play to the coach, by the way, whatever he said to them changed it. They nullified Leeds then, and they saw the game out reasonably comfortably. The fact they're able to do that is not Chelsea's fault, and I don't blame them for doing it. We've seen loads of teams do it, so it's not just dig at Chelsea.
Yeah.
There's only a couple of ways to sort it out.
What do you do?
One is you take a player off for a certain amount of time from the rather than the keeper, because you can't just say no. You can't because if the keeper goes down genuinely and there's something wrong with him, and the referee says nah, get up, get up, and then something happens to the keeper because he's concussed or he's broke his ankle, whatever. The referees are put in an invidious position.
Danny, I'm so glad you've said that. A trial theory that they're having is if the goalkeeper needs treatment, then another player in the team must leave the field for a minute.
Well, that's the same if you get injured and have treatment as a player, you have to go off.
Would that stop it?
Well, I think you do that in conjunction with the latter bit which is on your bit of paper, but it's what I said at the weekend when I was doing the comms. During the time the keeper's down, no player is allowed to go to the coach.
There you go. Right.
So I think you have to have a player off.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to go to the sideline.
You would have the two.
Yeah.
Would you go that far, Simon, to stop it?
Yeah, I mean,
especially the second part. No players can approach the technical area.
Yeah, I think that's right, because I don't think you should be gaining a material tactical advantage by a goalkeeper either suggesting he's injured or being injured.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched one last night in the Bayern Munich PSG game with the PSG goalkeeper. It was pathetic. I mean, I know the one thing I shouldn't have been taken away from the game, given the fare that I was watching, was this goalkeeper, but it was pathetic.
Yeah.
And when Bayern Munich were trying to get an equaliser, there was a chance the goalkeeper dove in the way in, I think, about 86 or 87 minute go, and then next thing you know, he throws himself on the floor. And it is pathetic.
Yeah.
And referees have got to get across it and see what is legitimate and what's not, and be across those sort of things, because that's the ramification of it. But I think Danny's idea of, first of all, negating the benefits as a reaction to the circumstances which irritate people, and then alongside it, perhaps taking a player off the field is another consequence.
Right.
And then the third thing is if a goalkeeper then jumps up and is like the PSG goalkeeper did yesterday, a booking.
Yeah, exactly. The final one, we only get a sentence each on this one, but I think I know where you're going to go with it. They're set to FIFA talking about imposing red cards for players who cover their mouth when confronting an opponent. This could be as soon as the World Cup.
I'm on board with it.
Red card for when they do this kind of thing.
The only problem is with it, because players habitually have done it for so long now, You're asking them to change. Like, you will get some do it just automatically and then spoiling the game.
Yeah.
It could be a problem. But I think just take it on the chin for a while. And if it is spoils a few games, fine, it'll stop.
It would stop it.
Do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crept into the game alongside them walking off the field and all the officials and all the players and the managers not wanting so-called interested parties to lip read. But yes, there's no real reason when opponents are interacting with one another for their mouths to be covered by either shirt or by their hands.
I might act upon it because during commercial breaks, Danny and Simon cover their mouths and I can't hear what they're saying.
That's because of your breath.
Thank you very much indeed. I did have onions last night. It was another Five Guys with a salted caramel milkshake. Simon, thanking you.
Five Guys, yeah.
Best hamburgers.
I'm a great fan of that.
I'm sure you are.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm sure you are. We can see.
Double award winner, Mr. Murphy. I thank you. As for you, Simon, mañana at 10. It's 1 o'clock this Wednesday lunchtime.